All right, mic check, mic check. Hello, hello, 1 2 1 2. What's going on, chat? Hope everyone's doing well. It's swapped over. How's it going, chat? It's still somewhat cold over here. We had some nice hot days, but now it's back into the, like 40s at night and stuff like that. But that being said, I went and dropped off some flies today at a local fly shop, and I'm hearing reports that there's some bass locally. So there's some fish around. I haven't caught any. I haven't gone fishing much though because I've been tying. Been quite busy with deceivers, kinky muddlers, even more kinky muddlers. So I'm tying. I'm just like slammed with tying right now, as usual, early season. But that being said, I'm gonna try and get out and particularly try and do some like night fishing. I think is what I'm gonna do, and wait for a good like tide, where there's like an outgoing tide at night or something like that. I'm gonna go out there and go try it out. But yeah, we'll see what it's like. Hopefully, it's kind of a late start to the season. It seems like it's been like that for the past couple of years, though. At least for where I am. We used to catch fish like back in like the 12th, but it also is, there's I think just a lack of smaller fish, and I used to catch a lot of smaller fish over by my house here. So might need to start traveling to areas closer to the inlets and stuff where larger fish are going to be more reliably as well. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, happy Friday. We got some flies to tie as usual. I would like to get some more flies whipped up for my fly box. We have, it's for everybody watching on Twitch, it's Friday Fly Giveaway night. Oop, let me change this real quick. Hold on. As always the case with this old capture card of mine. We do have our marble race up and rocking. So what do you call it? You folks can join on in, and we'll probably just do a YouTube giveaway or something like that later tonight at the end of the stream. So, but I have some flies heading out. Southern Fly Guy, Rob, Cragger Roll, Frosty. I'm going to be shipping some flies out, so I have them packaged up and everything. But that being said, I want to tie some flies for myself for my fly box, and then maybe we could tie a couple for the giveaway, for instance, because I'm starting to run low of some extra flies. But that being said, I just want to double check real quick. Vertical stream's looking good. Everything's lined up. Let me check the chats because I haven't even checked. Yo, what's going on, Jimmy Crack Corn? How's it going, dude? Doyle, what's up? How's it going? Yo, Gucci Monster. Yo, it's good. Yeah, it has been a while. How you been, dude? I hope you're doing well. And Gene, how's it going? Hey, Southern Fly Guy. Yeah, your fly, I'm shipping it out. I got it all packaged up. Night, I'd either do it on a full moon or figure out how maybe to rig a system where you can stick in a mini glow stick inside of the fly that won't fall out. Nah, dude. You fish at night. We fish at night all the time. I usually fish sunsets, but I'm going to start sticking out, fishing into the night a little bit. The thing is, it's been cold, dude. The last time I went out, I fished for like an hour, and I was freezing at the end of it. So I was like, screw this, I'm heading back. It was like starting to rain too. So it's still getting like 40 degrees with the wind chill at night. So I'm waiting for it to warm up a little bit, but I'm just going to start going out. I'll dress extra warm and just let my hands freeze, I guess, as usual. But what do you call it? One of my friends who fishes with a spinning rod, he's been doing pretty good at night. I don't need no glowing attachments to my fly. Heresy. You can do that if you like, but you can also use UV material. That's very reactive in the water to UV light and stuff. All right. So that being said, we have yo, what's going on, Frosty? That being said, we have some flies to tie. I've been full rooster fish mode, so being busy with that. But I'd like to tie some just classic stuff that I usually fish early in the season. So we got a couple different hooks. We have a 4-rod Gamakatsu, and I got these 4-rod Eagle Claws. These are old 254s that I have, so we can use these as well. So maybe we'll start off with a flatwing. How do you expect the fish to find it? Well, we've talked about this. You use darker color flies at night because the sky is backdropped. The fly is backdropped against the lit sky. No matter what, the sky is always going to be brighter than the water. The water is like pitch black down there, and the fish are darker from above, lighter from below. That's not only we're talking about striped bass. That's not only a camouflage against predators, but it's a predator camouflage that they use so that they don't necessarily be seen from underneath. So they're used to hunting from below, also with the way that their eyes are set up. So you use a dark colored fly at night, and the fish can see the fly against the moonlight or the skylight. But now the main thing is that fish don't necessarily even need to see the fly. Fish also use their lateral lines, particularly striped bass, use their lateral lines along with other fish, but striped bass will use it, and they'll essentially detect any disturbances in the water. A lot of times with a popper, it's not like they're seeing the popper from like a distance. They're feeling it as well as not only potentially seeing it, right? So that's the reasoning behind it. Is why black and purple work so great at night. Why don't you just use white color flies at night if it doesn't matter? You can, but that's particularly on like full moons and stuff like that when it's more lit. Getting the emotes back, Roger Dodger. For flatwings, will normal saddle hackles be good enough? Yeah, you just want to look for the thinner ones, Doyle. So like this, for instance, I have a ton of, this is regular Chinese saddle hackle here that I'm using for the kinky muddlers. This is a great example of one you can use as a flatwing hackle. It's a little bit thicker and softer than like some of the other hackle, but it'll work just fine. Yeah, but I'm telling you, I don't think none of the bait is lit up. So like what, you know what I mean? Like it's like saying like, well, yeah, you could just put a light on it, but in real life, there's no like bunker that have a light on them. You know what I mean? In fact, like potentially, I feel like having like a light in the water could like potentially ruin the fishing. I, for one, never use any headlamps or anything like that. You know what I mean? I understand it's like a green light or whatever, you know, glowing thing, but I don't know. You could feel free to use it, but I never have, and I've have no issues catching fish at night, you know? What's going on, Jim? Ray Bondrew talked about the magnetic attraction to those tin 254s over the stainless. Yeah. There's something about that as well when it comes to like what hook material it is as well, because it's all like electromagnetic stuff when it comes to how they're feeling stuff in the water. For instance, just having a big bushy head on a fly, I mean, this is not trimmed, but imagine this was trimmed. This thing's going to push a lot of water, even if we fish it with a sinking line. So on the surface, yes, it's going to go ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. But underwater, it's still, the water is going to push around it, and that's going to cause the disturbance. So imagine there's a fish in the water that's struggling. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be in the surface. A bass could still figure it out, whether it sees it or whether it picks it up or whether it smells it or whether it uses all of its senses at once, you know? You know, well, then use it for squid, you know what I mean? But you got to do what's practical. And doesn't mean you can't catch fish with a light on a fly, but I'm just saying, believe me, you're overthinking it. You know what I mean? You're thinking about it like a spin fisherman would, that dangle those little green lights on their rods with the bells. So because they're hanging out, they're like sleeping in their chair, fishing on the bridge.
That's a lot of muddler tails.
That is a lot of muddler tails. Yo, thank you so much, Craggerroll. Appreciate it. A round of applause for Frosty and Craggerroll. Resubbing up over here on Twitch. Don't forget, !play. We have our marble race going on. And we're probably going to just do a giveaway on YouTube later in the chat. We'll do like the wheel or something, you know what I mean? You know how it goes. Oh, wrong scene. Yeah, so if you just have a big head on there, for instance, Jimmy, and it pushes water and you fish with a sinking line, that itself will create a disturbance and help, you know what I mean? But I think it's overall the general consensus is darker colors at night and lighter colors during the day. That's just the philosophy that other fly tyers have passed down, whether it be books or just, you know, from over the years, and that's what I tend to do. So, and if you go to the surf fishing world of striped bass, they generally tend to do the same. Like, people prefer like blurple plugs or dark plugs, but I know guys that just fish all white bucktails and things like that and never change it as well. So it's very easy though to just get locked into a certain belief, you know. That's why it's important to read a Kenny Abrams book, a Ray Bondaroo book, Lou Tabery, because coming over from spin fishing, you know, I had a different perspective on how striped bass feed and this and that, because it's very easy to just throw a lure, you know, throw like a bucktail jig or like a plug and stuff like that. But then, like, you know, I would try and get it as far as I could. I would be doing this and that. And then I found out later on with a fly rod, I could only cast 40 feet, but I was catching fish within 40 feet. I'm like, oh, there's fish close. You know what I mean? Like, I've been trying to get it out super far, you know what I mean? When there's been fish close. I didn't even realize, because I'd always just reel it in super quick when I was getting back, you know. There's just so many different things that when it comes to swinning flies, which is like essentially trout fishing, but for like striped bass, completely changed my perspective on how striped bass feed, because it's not just one dimensional. You know what I mean? But that being said, it's very easy to, whether you're a fly fisherman or a spin fisherman, to get like dead set in a certain way you fish. So it's good to branch out and try different things. This is where it helps, like, you know, YouTube, books, you know, clubs, and just going out fishing with other people, trying new things. I'm always learning new things, which is the great thing about it, you know. I missed something, though. Yo, Fisher Mechanic, what's up? Long time no see. How you been? Just finally moved into my apartment. Got back from a honeymoon in the Bahamas. Hell yeah, dude. Congrats. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I didn't get any fishing time in due to bad weather, though. Well, you know, it's your honeymoon, so it's probably a good thing you didn't fish too much. You know what I mean? So you're in good graces, at least. Yeah, Jim, I never liked full moons either. We talked about this before. Leading up to the full moon's the best. I've had the best luck leading up to the full moon. But once the full moon hits and a couple days after, I never do too good. Kenny's books are way expensive. I had, but online I had both, but could not find either. Would love to replace them. You did find the Ray Bondaroos and some Ed Mitchells. Yeah, but isn't is Striper Moon not available in PDF? I mean, it's just read it. It's great to have in person. Believe me, I'm lucky to have most of these books from the like peak era of striper fly tying, because I grew up during it. My parents were nice enough to buy them for me when I was a kid. But as long as you're just reading the books, you know what I mean? The Abrams books used are not too bad. I think they're pretty bad, come fly with me. I remember, I think years ago, we looked up a perfect fish was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's like a rare one. That's harder to find. Striper Moon was published more, and I think you could find it, but it's still like $100 or maybe like $80. It's a tiny little book. It's a cool book, but thrift stores, check them out. Got 7 fly fishing books last week. Yeah, you can find a ton of them. It's finding the certain ones that are hard. She wanted me to go fly fishing in my own spot, but I got hurt and stuck with crutches in a wheelchair after a fall. Oh, dude. Oh, no. I'm sorry for laughing, but that's just like a classic, you know what I mean? Like, blunder of fly fishing plans, it sounds like to me. Happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. Alright, we're gonna do a little flat weight action. I generally like fishing 5 to 6 inches when it comes to a like early spring season. And you'll see we're going to have some slimmer versions of flies, and then we're going to have some more bulkier ones. Been stuck in a boot for 6 weeks. Oh, man, it sucks. Yeah, I've broken my foot a couple times. Once was when I was younger and whatnot. And then some bad dislocations and things like that over the years. You got to stay safe, dude. We're getting older, you know? You can't be hurting yourself. Take it slow. Take it slow. Yeah, it's usually more, particularly with striped bass, in particular, you know, it's generally more up to the new moon, you know? New moon with grass shrimp in May, yeah. Well, here's the thing, like, if we're talking about certain feeding activities, that's different. During a new moon or a full moon, May, cinderworm hatches. Now we're talking, but that could be a week-long event. It could be a couple days, like, and then we've gone back on the actual moon, and it wasn't as good. But, so that's a certain specific feeding time, you know, or like event, which in itself is great fishing. That's tied to a moon activity, you know. Let's use some yellow. Oh, actually, let's go grizzly and then we'll go yellow. Oh, we can do the grizzly on top. Excuse me. So has anyone been getting out and doing any fishing yourselves or what? It seems like I'm just starting to see some stuff here, so hearing some rumors from somebody, so I got to get out and go do some fishing, man. It's like I got to catch some fish. I got to shake off the wintertime rust, you know what I mean? Well, I ain't got time to go out bass fishing on the boat. Been about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks ago, but I haven't been since. Yeah, I've gone like twice, so I've just caught in shad. So it's been quite slow, but there's bait and there's some activity, just no bass. So I'm hoping that they've just finally moved in. So we'll see. I mean, honestly, today wouldn't have been the worst day. I'm going to see what tomorrow's like. Sunday, well, here's the thing, like, I didn't stream last week for Microwave Dice, so I got to do that. Probably going to work on building some more zombies, and then Sunday we got to record a game. I got to work on the next videos for fly tying, and then for the next Microwave Dice, so got to have so much stuff I have to do now. And the main thing that I'm doing right now is just getting all these flies done. Particularly the roosterfish stuff is very important, so I'm just doing all that. But I gotta find some time. Maybe I'll try and go out like super late or something. Just busy. It's fishing season. Now I'm gonna tell you what though, chat. I really hope I start seeing some more smaller fish. I talked to the tackle shop owners. Not a lot of reports of smaller fish. So I think you know what? I think we're probably, I'm not even joking. I honestly think we're going to see a moratorium within the next 5 years. They're going to have to do something. Because the spawning's just going to keep being terrible and terrible. Like, there's no fish, small fish it's all like 20 something to 40 inch. They're catching 40-inch fish. The first thing he's like, yeah, they're catching fish up to 40 inches. I'm like, man, that's sick. I'm like, is there any small ones? He's like, nope. And I'm like, well, that's the thing, right? Like, right now, the entire striped bass fishery is being propped up by the, like, I don't know what class year fish, but it's like whatever year it was that had really healthy spawns, and they're all like, you know, certain amount of years from like, you know, they're like 26 to like 40 inches or something. But there's just no smaller fish. That's the thing. That's what I kind of finally came to the conclusion why we didn't catch a single fish over here in this creek last year was we're usually catching fish up to like 28 inches. So usually though, it's like there are smaller fish in the mix, like 22, 23, 20 inches. That's like a lot of the fish we're catching in these back bay, really far back bay areas. But maybe that's the reason why I didn't catch a single fish in the month of April last year. Yeah, or a single fish in the spot at all last year. when I've caught them consistently. That was like, this is where we go to stream on Twitch for years. So, but yeah, I don't know. But so I mean, I'm hoping to go out and catch a 40-incher. That'd be great, you know, or 30. I'll be happy with a 32-inch bass, and then let that thing swim away. But I am quite worried for the future of the striper industry. I think they're gonna have to just do a moratorium at some point. I guarantee it. I'm calling it probably within 5 years. Watch. 2014 spawn. Yeah, I don't know the exact date or whatever, but I used to know more in detail, like in terms of the size. We've looked up the charts before when it comes to sizing on age of striped bass and poundage. Behind the islands in southern New Jersey, one small bass on a deceiver. That's good. I like to hear the sound of that. A lot of bait around, but not a lot of bass from the sod banks. Yeah. I don't know. It's different. The fishing's kind of changed in my local area, for sure. Shake off my crappy foot. You gotta do the stanky leg or something. Lovely color combo. Yeah, this is kind of like Ray Bondaroo herring colors, like the Bondaroo bucktail, for instance. So, but I think he mentioned specifically it's like a herring color, if I'm not wrong. Or he has some herring flatwings in his book that are like kind of like this-ish. So, we're going to take some bucktails and blend some colors of bucktail now. I don't want to go rooting around. I really got to organize my bucktail at some point. It's kind of discombobulated all over the place. I want 30 to 50 pound fish. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Wait till people that, I mean, for folks that have been around a while, you may have actually lived. I haven't experienced a moratorium. I think it was in the 80s or late 80s. So I think the guy was the tackle shop owner. He was saying there were 2 moratoriums. I thought there was 1 moratorium. But, what do you call it? Wait till that happens, and we'll see what people say. People have a very interesting, not everyone, but there's certain people that have very interesting, like old school mentalities when it comes to the striper conservation. They're like kind of dead set against it, you know what I mean? So no matter what, it's gonna suck. My entire like fly tying business is like almost built on striper fishing. So, but it's better than losing an entire East Coast stock of fishing to where you can't even fish anymore. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna shut up about it, but I was talking about it with the tackle shop owner, and he was like, "Guarantee you, they're gonna do a moratorium. They're gonna have to." So we'll see. That being said, keep fish wet. They just got too much stacked against them, dude. It's rough, you know. What's a moratorium, or what you're saying mean? It means a complete shutdown of the commercial and the recreational fishing of striped bass. They've done it before where the striped bass were so overfished that because they used to go around with like trucks, and they used to seine net schools of bass right on the beach. There's like photos of them like with like trucks and stuff full of bass and stuff, and they like decimated the population along with other things leading to it, and so they had a complete shutdown. A moratorium's like no fishing whatsoever, no commercial, no recreational. You can't target them. There's no catch and release. It's, you know, a wildlife officer could, or, you know, a DEC officer or whoever, state police or something, could probably write you a ticket if they suspected you were fishing for striped bass, or what do you call it, doing it on purpose. Late 80s was the last one. So there were 2, right? Because there was one in the 70s that I always hear of. That was like a big one, or a longer one. And then there was one in the 80s. Okay. I was in college, so a lot more spring and fall nights were spent at parties instead of on the water. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's not allowed anymore, but you could look it up. Look up Stripers Forever. They have photos and videos of it. But I mean, it's not just the, because what they would do is they would launch a boat with a net, and they would go around and like scoop up a whole school of bass that were feeding on bait on the beach. You know what I mean? It was really popular, especially back in like the 40s and things like that when the fishery was healthy. But they ended up just overfishing to the point to where the striped bass were like, in dire straits. So that's what led to the moratorium. So, but I highly suspect we're probably going to end up there again. Because, like, things seem okay, like, you can go catch some decent fish, but there's no small ones, so it's like, how are you going to have large ones in the future if there's no small ones? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, ever hear of the Columbus Day Massacre? No. Oh, God. Thank God for PA trout. Are we talking about, like, some sort of, like, revolutionary times thing, or is this, like, a striper thing? I don't know if I want to know. I remember the, what was the name of the massacre in Boston? That was one of the reasons that it was like a revolt against the British. Not some Tea Party thing, but there was like a specific massacre, I think, during like winter, I think it was. I forgot when it was. Alright, we got some chartreuse here. We're going to go with some pretty long bucktail here in the middle. Yeah, here's the thing, though. We don't really, like, all we have is, like, some bass fishing. There is some trout, but, like, barely. We just have some, like, largemouth and pickerel fishing. So if there's no striper fishing, dude, it's like... Oh, man. It's a bummer. You can do a little bluefish, right? But I'm like, I was talking about this, too. It's like, what do you do, like, when there's, like... Well, people are like, oh, well, just go out and fish and say I'm fishing for bluefish, you know what I mean? But it's like, now it's like when you go fishing for bluefish and like, are you going to get harassed? Or like, I don't know. It sucks. It's good then I got Mike Roll's dice. You know what I mean? We're going to have to start diversifying our fly tying lessons too. If they do a moratorium. Are people going to want to learn striper flies if there's no striper fishing? Post reading the water book on Martha's Vineyard. More 50-pound killed in the 80s. Oh, what? Like a salt pond showed up in Bunker. And people like caught all the whole school of bass or something. Yeah. Something tells me I don't ever think we're going to get to the point like we were in the 90s. That was like the last peak of like striper fishing, unless they do like a full-on moratorium and it's really successful. But you got to realize it's not just fishing. It's environmental stuff. It's a megacorp hammering bunker down in Virginia and using helicopters coming up offshore off of New Jersey, or these New Jersey boats as well coming off of like New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts, essentially like skirting the law, just taking all the bunker. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that are at play here. So even if we do a moratorium, I don't know if we're ever going to get striper fishing to where it was like when I was a kid, you know what I mean? But it's important to, support organizations like the Saltwater Guide Association, Stripers Forever, you know what I mean? Because they're going to fight for trying to protect striped bass. Like Stripers Forever wants to make striped bass a game fish, you know what I mean? Which would have much stricter regulations for fishing. It happened to snook. Snook had they were on like the complete downfall, And I think they did a moratorium on snook fishing, or they did something where they... Did they do a slot? They did something where they brought back snook, but they were like on the brink at some point. Entire race of fish eliminated in 3 days in Columbus Day chapter and post book. Well, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, you could do some serious damage with just some nets. You know what I mean? In the right place. Or whatever. Yo, what's going on, Yumi? The Boston Massacre. Was it just the Boston Massacre? I guess it was, yeah. British troops shot into a crowd. Yeah. Yep. It was just the Boston Massacre. Alright. We're going to put in a little bit of, our special Juju magic stuff. If I can find it. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Really got to do some reorganization here. I'm just kind of like deep in tying flies. Yeah, well, are we talking about saltwater, or are they talking, are we talking the freshwater ones, the hybrids? Because they got massive ones, like Henry Cowan up in, or down in Georgia. He's in Georgia, right? Like Lanier, is that where that is? They catch big fish there. But those aren't saltwater stripers. I think if you want to actually go visit a healthy saltwater striper fishery nowadays, you got to go to Canada, because they have this new like population up there in New Brunswick. It's eating all the salmon fry, but the fishing is phenomenal up there now. Oh, they're saltwater. Well, I know they go down to North Carolina and South Carolina, but how consistent is the fishery down there, you know? I haven't heard much about a consistent South Carolina saltwater fishery. I know you got fish that migrate down south towards North Carolina in the Outer Banks during the wintertime, stuff like that. But then again, with how screwed up the environment is nowadays and our weather patterns and everything and how they're changing, fish are doing all sorts of weird stuff now. So, who knows? We're starting to see like redfish and tarpon and stuff quite regularly, cobia. So we clearly have some sort of warming of waters out in the ocean going on, because we're getting way more exotic fish than we used to. Like quite regularly here off Long Island. I'm just waiting one of these days till we hook like a freaking tarpon. When I get my boat back up and running, that's going to be like my dream, is to catch a tarpon in Long Island on the fly. Yeah, it's offshore mostly. Oregon Inlet in North Carolina used to have a huge striper fishery, and those guys kept everything. Nothing was let go. Yeah. That's how she goes, especially if it's not a area of the country where it's like a highly regulated striper fishery. Lake Lanier, Georgia. Lake Altoona, Georgia. Yep. Have huge landlocked stripers. Yeah, that's where Henry fishes, in Lake Lanier, right? We had tarpon behind Atlantic City about 10-15 years ago. Yeah, I mean, somebody got drone footage of a big old tarpon in the bay here. Now, years ago, we would hear from some commercial fishermen, that there were tarpon being caught in some of the nets, because they have these like seine nets that they just kind of put out. It's actually it is a very good way of commercial fishing. You just have to check it every day, but there's like a line of nets with posts, and then there's a big circle. So like what happens is the fish stay in the water in this like circular basket, if you will, and then they come up to the boat at low tide and they lift it up and they pull whatever fish they want, And then whatever ones they don't want, they throw back, you know what I mean? So they're like in the moving bay the whole time, and they're not like caught in a gill net or something, or they're not, power seining or something like that. But, and they had a tarpon in one of those nets, which is pretty crazy. So, and I remember back then, this is when I was a kid, and then I remember hearing it again at some point when I was older, and did some commercial fly tying for one of the shops, you know? So it's definitely a thing where it happens, where they come up this way and end up north here. I do want maybe a little purple on here is what we're missing. By the way, this was like a freaking $17 bucktail. Can you imagine what world we're living in? This was $17, by the way. Wow. Unbelievable, huh? Must be super high quality. This is what one of my local shops sold me a while ago. I'm like, okay, I'm not literally never buying bucktail from you guys ever again. I was like, is this right? I had to go back into the store. Okay, that's how much we're charging for bucktail now? Roger. Oh, we're going to have to start charging more for flies. 70-inch tarpon caught in Rhode Island 2 years ago. Damn. That's crazy, Glass. Well, that's the thing. It's never small ones. It's always big ones that people are seeing up when it comes to tarpon. I think because they have to, like, make the journey up here. You know, they might just get caught up in the Gulf Stream and just end up here, right? I think that's what happens. Because we get lionfish. We get all sorts of exotic species. Like, the local aquarium has some lionfish that they found in the bay here. Somebody was diving and, like, found them. We get all sorts of exotic species every year that wash up with the Gulf Stream. So I guarantee you, and that's one of the reasons why we have such great offshore tuna fishing off Long Island. We're, like, right near the Hudson Canyon. So you get this, like, the Gulf Stream comes pretty close. So I think they just end up coming inland. But I'll tell you what. I wouldn't mind seeing some redfish. I've seen some folks catch, like, redfish in the surf, big ones. I wouldn't mind getting some damn redfish in the grass up here. How sick would that be? Like stripers and redfish on the flats. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic if, like, global warming completely destroys the fisheries. Or something. Or whatever sort of climate fluctuations we're having, you know? Weird shit. Because there's definitely something going on. We're definitely getting a lot more exotic species. We're getting a lot of shark species that we haven't seen before as well inshore. A lot more sharks. Where the hell is my, I just used it earlier today. Oh, here it is. Our flats have no seagrass. I wouldn't doubt reds going that north at all. Well, yeah, they're usually the big ones, right? They're like bull reds. They also catch the black drum. And it's usually like New Jersey in the surf. Somebody's fishing with bait. They end up catching a redfish or a cobia or something. It's not unusual. It's been happening for years and years and years. But we are starting to see more people like catching like cobia from the beaches and different things, and we have tons of bluefin like coming right into the beaches, like 500-pound bluefin coming right into the rocks. It's crazy. Some crazy stuff going on for sure. No spearing regulations on tarpon in New Jersey. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like a lot of these species, there's probably not even striped bass regulations in certain states that there might be striped bass that migrate as far south or something or whatever. So when you get fish species that aren't regularly in certain areas, there's probably no regulations for them. And that's where, like, you know, it's like, I think there should be regulations for false albacore. There is no regulations for false albacore in New York State, if I'm not wrong. But there should be a limit on keeping them and stuff like that. I know like trawling boats trawl them up for freaking like cat food or like, you know, like fertilizer and stuff. It's like, dude, false albacore are so impactful to the recreational fishery out here for charter boat captains. Like literally, it's got to be like $1 million industry, multi-million-dollar industry, if not more, for the false albacore, lobster bait or whatever it is. Yeah. I remember like the albie fishing was so good, and then it completely died off. And we heard rumors that a couple boats went out, big trawlers, and trawled up all the schools of albies. And we saw the boats like coming back or whatever. But I heard from somebody like, oh yeah, they trawled them. They were getting like a certain amount of pound for albies, so they went out and got them all or whatever. And I'm like, dude, it completely like killed the fishery for us for the rest of the year. But they went out, they like nailed all the schools of fish that were hanging out outside of our area on the South Shore and just decimated them. Because there's no regulation on them. So you can just keep as many as you want or whatever. Because New York State doesn't necessarily expect there to be that much. It's like a small thing, you know, they come in, but they need to start doing it. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, you know, back in the day, they used to kill every single tarpon they would catch, which was disgusting. But it was very popular, especially back in, like, the 50s and things like that. They would, to get, like, photos and stuff, they would kill them, you know what I mean? You can't even really eat them, you know what I mean, in my opinion, but... 100% put regs on false albies. Had boats taking wild amounts. Yeah, and that's the other thing. People, I swear to God, let me tell you this right now. I'm blaming on... I love On the Water magazine, okay? I know some of the guys. I've met a couple of the dudes that are, like, that do the one dude. I think his name's Mike as well, of Sold and Flies. Oh, no, it's James or Jimmy, I think. He's an awesome dude. But somebody wrote an article about eating false albacore and how if you bleed them, it's basically like, oh, you can eat it sashimi style or whatever. And after that, dude, I swear to God, nobody in their right mind was keeping false albacore until this article. All right? Well, some people were, but they didn't speak English. Okay? They were type, you know, like some people will just keep anything, right? You know what I mean? And, but after this article, people started, and I saw dudes just like everybody just starting to kill false albacore. And that's one of the reasons why we made that skit for, what do you call it, for the how to fly fish for false albacore. It's where it's like, yeah, dude, they taste good. You just got to cut them in the throat and bleed them, let the blood squirt into the fly fisherman's face or whatever. Because I swear it was, I felt like that was the point to where like albie fishing peaked and everyone was turning into like an Instagram albie model on the rocks and was like running around each other. And there were like people killing fish. There were albies in the sand. I'm like, dude, what is going on? This was not like what it was in the 90s. Like the albie fishing is like freaking chaotic now. You know what I mean? People are eating them now too. Like, what are we doing? It's disgusting. I'm sure you can eat them. You could probably bleed and bone and cut and do whatever. I love bluefish. I love cutting out the blood meat out of a bluefish and using some sort of dairy product, like either like a buttermilk or something like that, and help soften it, and then you can cook it in the oven. It's fantastic. You can use ranch dressing as well as like a marinade. It's really good, and breading it as well. But like the eating of the albie stain, I swear to God, dude, that right there, just like I think that that definitely was like, all right, now we've kind of changed. Because I'll never forget just seeing people like keeping the albies. I'm like, why are people keeping these things all of a sudden? I've always been told they're completely inedible. Somebody was smart. Somebody knows that you can probably eat them. But you know what they wanted to do? They're like, man, I love false albacore fishing so much. It's my favorite thing every fall. I go there, the fish are screaming. So what all the fly fishermen and spin fishermen, you know, they were like, listen, buddy, they're inedible. They're like, you probably can eat them. Right? But what you do is you just tell everyone, nope, you can't eat them. You might as well. It's cat food. You know what I mean? And then they just throw them back every time. And now you have a beautiful albie fishery you can look forward to every September. Guarantee it. That's probably what it was. No, I generally think they're just not very good to eat. They take way too much work, and it's not the same as, like, I'm sure if you dip it in, like, soy sauce and cut it very thin, you can eat it, but you can do that with anything. Smoked bluefish is good. Yeah, well, I tell you, the only time we ever kill bluefish is when we accidentally do it, and that's one of the reasons why we switched over to circle hooks. So if you watch my Bob's Bainer video, we stopped using traditional J hooks for bluefish because they were inhaling the poppers at such, like, high speed. They would just swallow it, gut hook themselves, gill hook themselves, and unfortunately, they fight so hard, they would just end up bleeding. And at that point, you try and release the fish. It's been fighting so hard. It's like 14 pounds, 10 pounds. So it pissed me off. I was like, I'm never using J hooks for bluefish again. So I'm switching over to circle hooks. And I did it for last year. Fantastic. I had great results. And the year before it. So, but that being said, if I release it and it just sinks down and it literally ends up dying because I gill hooked it, I'm not just going to leave it there to rot. I'm going to eat it. My dad, he's Turkish. He loves eating fish, even if it's bluefish. But for me, you have to prepare it properly. You have to get rid of that thick, like, there's like a blood line that runs along its lateral line. So you have to, like, cut the layer of the nasty meat off and get the nice kind of whiter bluefish meat. And then you can kind of marinate it in something like ranch dressing. And then you coat it in breadcrumbs. And you cook it in the oven. And you put some lemon juice on it with some tartar sauce. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. Smoked bluefish is great too. I'm not super big on, like, smoked fish in general, but or really any smoked cheese I like, but all right, hey Fisher Mechanic, appreciate it. Thanks for handing out, dude. Thanks for stopping by. What do you call it? All right, so there we go. Sorry for going on a rant. This is what we do on Friday nights. And we really only stream on Friday nights. So this is what we do during our streams. We tie some flies and we do some rants. It's glucose, their power, take off, PTO. Is that what you're talking about? The bloodline or whatever? Is that their, like, their muscle or something? All right. So, let's see here. I was just checking something. So make sure, too, if you haven't, on the Twitch side, hop in the marble race. We're going to be doing we're going to have to figure out whether it's follower or subscriber. We haven't. So let's do that right now. 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. It's a follower race right now. And 4, 5, 6 sub. It's 5. So we got our sub race first. We're doing our follower one after. Getting ready for the Celtics and Sixers games. So cutting out soon. All right, Jim. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for giving me nightmares about the Columbus Day massacre of striped bass. If you guys ever want to freak out a fly fisherman, show them footage of people beating up trout with baseball bats on the Salmon River. This is before they, like, banned, I guess, just, like, stabbing or beating up fish with salmon or whatever. They used to, like, go with baseball bats and, like, spears and, like, essentially either, like, gig or, like, just beat up steelhead and trout as they made their way up the Salmon River. And I was like, we met this dude on the river while we were at the Salmon River, and he was like a firefighter from Oregon who was living in his car just for this trip. He was like, yeah, I'm screw the hotel. And it was like freezing cold, but he was sleeping in his car and fishing every day. Awesome dude too. And he was also wanting to spark up a little bit. So we were like, yo, come back to the hotel and come hang out with us, because we were at the Tailwater, which is like the nice lodge. So he came back to the hotel room with us. We're all tying flies and, like, drinking beers. We went down to the lodge, had some beers, and we were out in the parking lot doing rips, And he's like, oh, you ever hear about like what the Salmon River used to be like? And we're like, what? No, what do you mean? And he showed us this video that was on YouTube. And yeah, dude, it was watching these dudes, like, dudes, like, they had to been drinking, dude, this looked like the perfect activity for some dumbasses drinking, like, 12 packs of, like, Busch Lights. And they were just, like, I'm not even joking, they were just beating the crap out of, like, brown trout and stuff, and they were trying to catch salmon that were making their way up the Salmon River. They were killing steelhead, everything, dude. It was wild. I was like, it was like watching a horror movie, too. Because I was like drinking, we were out in the parking lot doing, you know, fish whistles and stuff. So I was like traumatized from this. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what is this? What is this snuff film of trout you're showing us right now? This is terrible. Lady lost an eye from a snagging hook. Yeah, I mean, they would snag, right? Was the thing, right? They had snags and stuff. But I think you could also just beat them with sticks. Like, I'll never forget, it was a dude beating a trout with a stick. A big brown trout, and then they just kicked it back in the water because it wasn't a salmon. But is that what made them stop doing it up there? Somebody, lady lost an eye? Or was it just the pure, like, destruction on the fishery that was happening? I don't know. You could probably find it on YouTube, dude. That was something, for sure. I'll never forget that video. I'm not even a big trout dude or like steelhead fisherman. That was like traumatizing to watch. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, we've come a long way. Now you can't even use lead wire and you can't lift your line too fast so you don't snag them. You know what I mean? Back then you used to just freaking go out there with like a cleaver and like a giant snag them and then just beat the crap out of them. In front of a warden or a game warden. You would trip over 100-pound braid, very dangerous. Oh my God. Oh well, oh yeah, it's a great idea to probably snag in a river like that full of rocks. Oh my God, yeah. I can imagine the bottom of the river was probably extremely just covered in braid and treble hooks and weights and all sorts of crap. Yeah, no bueno, no bueno. Yeah, now you're not even allowed to use lead. It's crazy. Thank God I wasn't around back then. Holy crap. There were times where I've gotten in heated arguments with people over like trying to keep small striped bass. Just different stuff, you know what I mean? But I just couldn't imagine seeing something like that. And like you're trying to fly fish, you're going up there seriously trying to fly fish, and there's people just like fish like caveman activities up there, beating the crap out of steelhead and stuff in front of you. Yeah, it's definitely something. I would love to go out west and do legit wild steelhead fishing. You know what I mean? Native wild steelhead fishing. That is a dream of mine. I know there's a ton of poison oak though. I've heard there's a lot of poison oak, and I am highly allergic to poison ivy, poison sumac, and poison oak. Very, 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 very allergic. I've learned to be very cautious with it, but I've seen stuff where I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'd have to like pick the right place. I guess it's a good thing I didn't grow up on the West Coast, because apparently there's a ton of poison oak out there, from what I've heard. Out here, it's poison ivy. Poison ivy's just everywhere. We do have poison sumac as well. We don't really have poison oak out here as much, but the ivy on Long Island is just... Even like to go walking down to my local fishing spot, it's everywhere. It'll grow in the trees at like face height too, so you'll just like brush into it as you're walking past. You have to be very careful out here. Knife fights too. Well, that's the thing, unfortunately. It seems like that's anywhere with fishing. That's anywhere that's like the monumental, like mecca of like striper fishing, Montauk, or like the what's the name of the Cape Cod Canal, the Salmon River, all these places. I saw a video on Instagram because apparently Instagram Maybe I watched a video of like people fist fighting or something once. Now Instagram literally just shows me like the most violent things. It's one of the reasons why I just try not to even scroll through Instagram anymore. It's my algorithm is just hell. You would think like humanity is destroyed if you saw my Instagram feed. I don't know what the hell happened to it. But I saw people on opening day of trout just like beating the crap out of each other. I used to see people fighting at Montauk. I've seen people fighting at the bridge. I've seen people fighting on the rocks at the inlet. It's so dumb. I've had people tell me like I'm standing on their rock and like they get up all in my face. I'm like, you know what, buddy? I'm not gonna fight you over a freaking rock. You can have it. There's some crazy people out there too, because some people got a couple years ago. Somebody got severely hurt and got stabbed on the bridge late at night striper fishing. So I don't know what the hell. You got to be careful fishing at night. Most of the time, everybody's chill. Like when I'm out in waist deep water and some dude's like walking past me, you know, to go fishing on one of the flats or something, everyone's chill. But there is a chance that that guy is a complete psychopath and will try and stab you. So you do need to, you do need to be careful. I don't know what the hell's going on. They're putting something in the water or something. The other thing I learned is you need to be careful parking at dead-end roads. A lot of my striper fishing I've done when I was younger was parking in really sketchy areas where there's no lights, no nothing. And I've had multiple people who are like, you know, probably like 10, 15 years, 20 years older than me that I was fishing with, tell me that their like car got broken into and they've had everything stolen out of it. Because you're just parked on like a really quiet dead-end place near the water at the end of the night. And people, it's just so easy for somebody to break into your car. So you need to be careful not bringing like 20 rods, leaving them all in your truck if you're parked at like some shady dead end somewhere. That's striper fishing. There's some serious ghetto ass striper fishing that is to be had that you got to watch out when you're out there doing it. Ashbury Park, guy chased me with a pipe one time. Yep. I don't talk to nobody when I fish. I'm just silent. I'm just like, I'm doing me. And also when I fly fish, dude, nobody even talks to me. They're like, we don't, this guy's an idiot. Nowadays it's different. There's like younger people. When I grew up, I swear to God, I had grown ass men looking at me like just treating me like crap because I was fly fishing. People on the rock, they were like, oh, this guy's wasting space on the rocks fly fishing when he could be spin fishing, you know? Meanwhile, I'm like a 10-year-old kid. Can you imagine? I've had people yell at me at Montauk for letting striped bass go. Like, start cursing at me as a little kid. I'll never forget that. These dudes started yelling at me. Whoa, what the F are you, what are you doing? You should just say, because I let go like a 30-something inch bass, like a 40-inch bass. They all had Van stalls. They all had corkers, like spanking new waders. They probably had custom rods, right? You know, they probably were from freaking New Jersey or like the city or somewhere. And they were all on the rocks. And I had waders with no cleats, no corkers. I had a Sports Authority surf rod and a Penn Slammer reel, I remember, throwing a plug. And I couldn't, dude, they were casting it like 100 and something meters every time. They were flying it out there. They had this was back in peak striper fishing. These guys were serious. Meanwhile, I can barely get it out there. But I kept casting to the same rock over and over and over and over and over again. I'm falling over. I fell over in the water because I didn't have corkers. So I had water in my waders. The guys were like, people were like not even helping me. They were like laughing, you know? And I'll never forget, dude, I caught this like 36, 40-inch bass on a blue and white Gibbs plug. And everyone was freaking out. And I let the fish go, and these guys started like yelling at me. And I'll never forget. It was so funny. Even my dad was like, what are you doing? No, don't let it go. My friend, everybody was like, no, keep it. And I let it go. And it was one of the funniest things. Dude, they got so pissed. I'll never forget. That though, like, really had an impact on me. And I was like, you know what, dude? Most surf guys are cool, surf fishermen. But I was like, I'm just avoiding everybody when I'm fly fishing. I'm just going to do me, like, Because people will give me like the stink eye when I pull up on the beach in October and I'm fly fishing, because their guys set up on a rip, and it's like a hierarchy of like who gets there first and whatnot, and people will try and bully themselves in. It's so dumb. There's like egos and crap. I pull up with a fly rod. They're like laughing because I could barely fish. It's like 5-inch waves, 5-foot waves or whatever. But I've learned I just don't even give a crap. I just do me and do my own thing. But I'll just never forget being like a kid and like having people yell at me because I let a fish go. I was like, you know what? You guys are idiots, bro. You guys are taking your spin fishing too seriously, if you ask me. You're surf fishing. I reported a guy for undersized fish. He got pissed. Oh, yeah. Well, we had a dude, one of my good buddies in high school. He, what do you call it? He spoke Spanish very fluently because he's Mexican. His family moved here from Mexico. And we knew this one guy who didn't... every time I confronted him, he's like, oh, I don't speak English or whatever. But we saw him like catch a striped bass, would go back to his car. He would leave, right? Then he would come back like 10 minutes later. So he was going home, bringing the striped bass home, and then he was coming back or whatever and catching another one and doing it over and over and over again. And so my buddy went and confronted him in Spanish and started telling him, he's like, listen, dude, we know what the hell you're doing. He's like, you're keeping fish over and over again. He's like, either you cut it out or we're going to have to call the DEC or something. And this guy got all pissed off and stuff. But I'm lucky that we've never had anyone like actually attack us. You know what I mean? Because you got to be careful. Like, people will actually stab you out there on the jetties and stuff. You have to, there's some crazy ass people, so you do need to be careful. What I've learned is it's good to become friends with DEC officers and get their numbers. The only problem is there's like literally at times maybe 10 DEC officers on the entire island, and some of them are dealing with a mechanic shop that has leaking oil in the ground, and some are dealing with hunting, some are dealing with this, some are dealing with that. Some are dealing with complaints from residents, you know what I mean? So it's like really hard for them to actually like properly patrol and make sure people aren't poaching and stuff. It's a big issue. I remember seeing there were people that specifically would poach fluke during the summertime, keeping like 8-inch fluke. I saw some dude burying them like in the rocks and in the sand, you know what I mean? I've had to deal with them a lot. So what I do when I meet a lot of DEC officers over the years fly fishing, because they're always like, oh, damn, you're fly fishing, you know, whatever. I just talk to them, too, because I'm like, people will avoid talking to DEC officers that are fishing. They're like, oh, DEC's here. It's like, I'm not doing anything wrong, dude. What the hell? I'm fly fishing. You know I ain't doing nothing wrong. So I go up to them like, yo, what's up? And over the years, I've gotten a bunch of different DEC officers, like cards and stuff. And I'm like, listen, dude, I've seen a lot of poaching. So if you're serious, give me your card and I'll let you know when I see it. Because it's either that or we got to like get into a fist fight with this guy. And I know that's not the Southampton or, you know, all these Hampton Town police departments aren't going to like that. So I'm not trying to go out there and fight people over striped bass as well. But I'm not going to sit there while some dude is poaching fish in front of me. You know what I mean? So I'm doing a hike to post a brook trout conservation sign. Oh, nice. Hell yeah, dude. You've never had a run-in with the DC out here? You know, there's bay constables, which are local town fishery police and like beach police, I guess you could call it. They deal with boats. You know, they deal with the beaches, like for 4x4 permits, and they deal with fishing and clamming and stuff like that. Then you deal with the state police, which are the DEC, the Department of Environmental Conservation. They have rangers, or they have actual officers. And then you deal with state park rangers and the county park rangers. So you have about 4 different, generally 3, because it's county or it's town or it's state. So you generally have 3 different law enforcement that you have to deal with. But it's really mostly the DEC and the bay constables that will come, will check your papers, will make sure people don't have undersized fishing buckets. Oh, I will say, I'll give it up to them, dude. They do a very good job. They will travel I mean, these DEC officers will travel. I know because I fish with some of them. Will travel like crazy distances and just stop from one bridge here, there. They have to get out on foot. They have to check every bucket, do this, that. It's like one dude has to cover a very large area, which is not easy. You know what I mean? A fly rod whipped across someone's throat will not finish them or something. It will give them a reason to not push it. And if you guys yelling at me for releasing a big flounder off a jetty, I mean, these guys were pissed and they said, we would have eaten it. I said, you catch it. You keep it. I'm releasing it. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said. I said, then you catch it. These big guys were trying, they're like sitting there with their like $1,000 Van Staal. And this was when Van Staal was made by Van Staal back in the day. And, sitting there with their cleat, and I'm like falling over. Nobody's letting me stand on a rock. I'm a kid, you know. And they're over there. Oh, then you catch it with your. I'm using my sports authority thing. But I will say, for the most part, everybody's pretty chill. But I don't know. It's just when you fly fish, you sometimes you get some people that I don't know. They look at you like you literally have your head on, you know, backwards or something. They're like, what is this? This guy has no idea what he's doing. They're like, the trout are that way, buddy. Like, some people don't still realize that you can, like, or how effective fly fishing is for striped bass. I don't know. For the most part, it's all good. It's just obviously the negative stuff sticks out so easy, right? Alright. Whip up another one here. What I'll do is we'll tie one fly for me, one for you guys. How about that? Because we got our giveaways tonight, so. We'll do some herring flat wings, and then maybe we'll switch it up with some different flat wings next. Now, these are the 4-aught hooks. You could definitely go down to a 2-aught for something like this, but I will say, I just like a 4-aught in general. I like a heavier hook. It keels well, and it also just handles any fish as well. So, and at the moment, I'm fishing with just a floating line or a sink tip attached to it with my switch rod, so it'll definitely, like, again, this 254 is not a very heavy hook, but you know, there's something to be said. I like a nice 3-aught, 4-aught. That's like my comfort zone for a lot of my striper fishing. Yeah, there's some, dude. There's definitely some crazy fishing stories out there. I've heard in the old days too. I think it's more, you're more likely to find it where it's like the very busy and stuff, or like when it does happen when a bite's very good. Some people get like just super invested in it, but I miss the good old days of having some old dudes yell at me in the 90s when the fishing was absolutely phenomenal. God, it was so good. Dude, I really hope we can get back there one day, man. One day. I'll never forget, there was this bass blitz, and I think it was like in May, on the ocean. It was like an ocean blitz right in the surf, and at that time of the year, the surf is like very mild, I feel like, too. But I'll never forget, these fish were huge. But there was like a weed line that was going along the entirety of the shore. Just the whole time, there was a weed line. And it was super thick, just like munweed and crap. But right on the other side of it were bass blitzing all along the side of this weed line. Right on the surf edge. There was like no waves either. It was crazy. I think I was like in my jeans. Because it'd be the sort of thing where we'd be like, we would pull up to the rocks and we would see like bass blitzing, and I didn't even have waders. I would just run out in my jeans as a kid and just like fish the surf. And I'll never forget, like, these bass are blitzing all over the place, and I hook a fish on the fly rod, but it's like through the weed line, and unfortunately, no matter what I tried doing, like I had the fish, I was fighting it, it was massive fish. And for me as a kid, it was probably only like 15, 20 pounds maybe, but it was like, to me, that was like a 50-pound fish. And the fish got like into the weed line, dude, and it was just game over. No matter what I tried, and I think it just ended up breaking off at some point, but I've never seen anything like that ever since. Like a bass blitz, springtime in the surf, middle of the day, like fish up to like 20 pounds on the surface. I've never seen something like that again. We used to have bay anchovies, and there would be like, imagine like a albie blitz in the fall time with the anchovies, but imagine that in the spring almost, where there was like this anchovy school would move in the springtime, and the bass would just tear them up like up against the rocks. I haven't seen that in so long. So, you know, there's a lot of factors, stuff to do with it. It's like bait, you know, striper population in general. But I don't think we have anchovies like that. That could have been a whole different species of anchovies that we were getting in the spring or something. I don't know. Who knows? It's crazy stuff. I do remember though, man. Damn. I just wish I had better fly fishing skills back then, because I was like 9, 10, 11 years old. I had to like self-teach myself how to cast. There were many years where I like struggled casting and like learning and stuff, and God, I wish I was like old enough to have a car back then and just fish in the peak. Would have been so good. But I'm lucky. My dad took me fishing all the time. I cannot complain. He'd take me fishing every day pretty much. Traveling all over the place. So I'm very lucky. My dad always would take time out of the day to take me wherever the hell I wanted to go on an adventure. Yo, what's going on, David? At the moment, we do private orders via like Instagram and whatnot. You can reach out, but we are going to be selling some flies on Angler's Marketplace at some point. But right now, what I do primarily is I do a lot of commercial fly tying for businesses and guides and fly shops. So in front of me here, in front of the vise, we have I'm working on like hundreds of kinky muddlers for this group going down to Baja, Mexico for roosterfish. But I don't have a storefront set up or anything like that. But we are going to sell some flies on Angler's Marketplace one of these days. I'm just quite busy. But the way people have ordered flies for me for years is like through Instagram or through email or something like that. You can reach out. I have customers that have been buying for years, so. Alright, we're going to put some eyes on this one. This one will be for you guys. I don't need no stinking eyes. But if we're going to do a giveaway one, I'll put some eyes on there for you guys. Just make it a little bit fancier, you know what I mean? Again, these are like, the way I tie my flat wings, I just tie them simple. They're very practical. They're not going to end up on the cover of a magazine. I would tie this slightly differently if we were like tying a fly for Fly Tire magazine or something. But when it comes to fishing, these are just workhorse flies. These are like my lefties deceivers nowadays. Keep it pretty small. This would be a great it's like a thinner herring, but this would be a great like sand eel fly, believe it or not. Like a larger sand eel fly. If you wanted to fish for like some sort of offshore species or something, or if you're just getting offshore sand eels. I hear a truck outside. I think it's the ice cream man. It's probably like parked right outside my house or something. Yeah, I've sold flies privately for years. That's how I started, and then afterwards I branched out into like tying commercially for shops and guides, and now we do a lot of tying for guides and for businesses. But I used to have a website. Unfortunately, it's very expensive, but Angler's Marketplace is a great place that I can kind of sell my flies. It's almost like an eBay for flies, almost, if you will, and lures. So I just have to get set up on it at some point. Right now is peak fly tying season for these roosterfish orders and all that. But you can always reach out via Instagram. LI Flies Mike is how I primarily do it. Also, my email is on there. Is tying your full-time gig, or do you have a jade? No, I've been full-time fly tying for almost 10 years now. I used to be a mechanic, and I did that for years and years, and then I started fly tying, and then because of back issues and because of just the mechanic business, I left. Started fly tying, and I've been broke ever since, but I have my own business, yes. And by my own business, I mean I just tie some flies and make a little bit of money here and there. But primarily I do a lot of like what I'm saying like this, where I do like hundreds and hundreds of flies for like guides for whatever. And thankfully now, thanks to you folks, YouTube, for instance, provides a pretty substantial chunk of like ad revenue and memberships and like super chats. And I have my second YouTube channel, Mike Rolls Dice, for battle reports and stuff. So between the two, you know, we get a little money from that, and then fly tying. We can make when I say meager, very meager living, but it's good enough because it's better than working for somebody else. So, you know what I mean? And I get to tie flies, get to do battle reports, get to go fishing. I just don't have a new truck or a working boat. But who needs all that? You know what I mean? Is that yellow or chartreuse? Chartreuse, yellow. Chartreuse, yellow. And then blue and lavender. Yep. All right. Yeah, I forget when. We've been streaming for 8 or 9 years, or like 8 years, I think, or 7 or 8 years. And I've been fly tying for at least a couple years before that, so. Before I got affiliated on Twitch. So it's got to be close to like 10 years now, or 11 years or something I've been tying full time. So that being said, I'm going to Billy Madison ya. Stay in school. Stay in school for as long as you can. You know, where he grabs that kid's cheeks and he's like squeezing the crap out of him. You know what I mean? Don't tie flies for a living. Okay? There's a reason Bob Popovics owned a restaurant. Okay? If you own a restaurant, you can start tying flies for a living. If you're a retired police officer or firefighter or something with a pension. Okay? But don't, if you think you're gonna, like, you know, hell yeah, dude, I'm single and I live with my parents, I'm able to do this. If you got a wife or you got kids, do not tie flies for a living, okay? You're going to end up living in a van down by the river like Mike Ross, losing it all. But hey, you can go fishing at least. So, I mean, maybe you want to do that. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But yeah, with the way striper fishing is nowadays, too. I don't know about it, Chief. I don't know. Yeah, it's like, oh, I wish I could go to hike school, Mr. Billy. He's like, what did you say? Stay in school for as long as you can. Because he was like getting bullied all the time and stuff. He was like all pissed off. He couldn't be in elementary school anymore. Like, who the hell is this dork? He showed up like listening to like fucking Def Leppard or something in like a Camaro. They're like, what? He thought it was like the 80s or something still. Or whatever. He's like listening to White Snake or something. They're like, who the hell is this old guy pulling up? Yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite movies growing up. All the sad Adam Sandler stuff we watched on repeat. Obviously, the two best being Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Obviously. Yo, real big guy, what's going on? How you doing, dude? Nick, how you doing? Yeah, my favorite thing from there's a ton of them. Like Vicky Valentine. It's just such a good movie. But my favorite is like, what are you going to do right now? That guy, I used to do that shit all the time, fucking with my friends. What are you going to do right now? What are you going to do right now? That one guy would just at the end, he's like rubbing his nips as like he's the touchdown is being made or something. I love that dude. That accent he used to do. Yeah, we're going to do all that. Yeah. That was one of my favorite things. That when I was growing up, my mom actually used to get really pissed when I do this, so I thought it was hilarious. It was probably not nice. But from King of the Hill, what's the dude's name? Is it Boomhauser? He's like, yeah, come on, man, what are you gonna do that? Yeah, man, you're going, damn, man, what are you doing like that, man? Like that? I used to do that all the time, too. She'd be like, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? Stop speaking like a dumbass. Yeah, I'm a sucker for dumb voices, alright? You figured it out. I'm a sucker for dumb voices. It's going just in fly time mode, getting ready for stripers to show up in Rhode Island. They're just getting here. Yeah, I've been hearing reports locally of people here are starting to, some of my buddies are starting to catch fish, so it's time for me to get going. I've done a little bit of fishing so far. Unfortunately, just, what do you call it? Just shad. No striped bass yet. But it seems like they're getting them, and in areas that I should be getting them back here because where they're catching them now is kind of very similar, but on the opposite side of the bay, quite far back into the bay. So hopefully we're going to start getting some fish here soon. That being said, like last year I didn't catch a single... Oh, I'm sorry, chat. My microphone. That being said, last year I didn't catch a single fish in the bay, so... Alright, what we're going to do real quick... We got our Friday Fly giveaway that we do on Twitch. We've been doing it for many years now. We are going to do one on YouTube. You guys just got to stick around till the end of the stream. We'll have everybody enter that wants to, and I'll put your guys' name in like a random name generator or whatever, and we'll pick you guys. But wait, what we've been doing for now, it's probably been well over 8 years on Twitch, is we have our marble race. So if you want... You folks on YouTube can always double dip, and you can try and, if you do have a Twitch account or whatever, it's free, but all you got to do is be following the channel. Right now we do have our subscriber race, so whoever has a paid subscription via the free Twitch Prime or Tier 1, Tier 3, or Tier 2, is going to be winning, but after that we have our follower one. So we've just been doing this for so long. I wish I could incorporate the folks from YouTube, but unfortunately it only works for Twitch, so... Otherwise, I would. But don't worry, we're going to do one later on for you guys. So, wherever Andrew Custom Flies his fishes, they've caught a few. He's in Jersey. Yeah. I don't know if he's like central or southern Jersey or something like that. He's in Jersey, though. So, last year was shitty for me. Didn't even get a big sand eel migration for some reason. Where I fish, it was all messed up. Dude, I'm telling you. And, it sucks, but it makes me feel better because last year was the worst year of striper fishing I've had in my entire life. So, and the year before that wasn't that much better. And I've had a lot of people that watch my fly tying videos, that watch my streams, that I talk to at fly shows, message me on Instagram because I post a lot of fly tying, all this stuff. And it seems like for the folks fishing on the ground with the fly, they struggled for sure in certain areas. Boat fishing, if you have a boat and you can get out to deeper water, there's a lot of big fish out in the ocean and stuff, but it's the smaller fish inshore, which makes up a majority of your fishing when you're fly fishing in the back bays and the creeks, where we fish a lot. That's what we're lacking right now, and it's just the fish aren't there. They don't exist. It's just the, 30 to 40 inch, fish are making up the giant chunk of our schools, so... Yeah, I don't know what's going on. If we start getting If I start getting some fish inshore all the way in the back, all the way in the back bay where I live, then it's a good sign of usually of a healthy, like, juvenile striped bass fishery. So, I don't know. We'll see what's going on. That being said, let's get it. Let's change the marble music. There can only be one marble in the pit. First, paid subscriber in the chat is going to be winning a fly. After that, free reign. Any follower, you don't got to pay nothing. It's just a way of giving back to the community. So let's, where the hell's my marble music, man? They changed this website up. I hate it. And after this, I'm gonna go grab a drink. We're gonna take a quick break. Oh yeah, this is my Mortal Kombat marble music. All right, chat. Good luck. We got Yumi, Craggerroll, Shaka Rakan, and Fly Guy. I'm hopping in there because maybe I can knock one of you off. First paid subscriber in the pit's gonna win. Is that just? We got Southern Fly Guy and Craggerroll, I believe. I don't think Yumi is a prime or Shuriken. We'll see though. Maybe. Good luck. After this, it'll be open to everybody, and for YouTube, we'll be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream. You guys gotta stick around. We're gonna pick one of your guys' names randomly from the chat. I'll have you guys type something. Oh shit! And they're off. All right. So if you guys don't know how this works, it's a marble race. The first marble to land in the pit's gonna win. For all the marbles, as you say. And whatever the hell this is, it looks like we're at some sort of water park. There's a whale. Craggerroll's going through a whale. Yumi's approaching the tentacles here. Fly Guy, Shuriken going down the slip and slide. Very nice. Well, there's like 3 different approaches here. This is interesting. I wonder what's faster. Looks like Fly Guy and Solo are in the lead at the moment. But Yumi... Oh! Never mind. Looks like Craggerroll and I found a quick passage here. Now we're approaching some paddle sections. The waterfall finish, though, for the lead. Finish line. Ah! Craggerroll, congratulations. I thought there was a finish line. It looks like whoever made it in the floaty pool wins. Craggerroll, congratulations. Craggerroll, long-time subscriber here on the channel. And I'm tearing up from joy. It's fantastic. Congrats. We're going to get one more race pulled up, and then we're going to do this at the end of the stream here. It was a photo finish. It was very close. By... less than a second. Less than a second. 0.8 of a second. Pretty good. All right. We're going to pull up this other race. You guys can join this. What does it look like? Pretty bare bones. Pretty bare bones. We'll see how it goes. All right. Chat. Let me write this down. Craggerroll. So now Craggerroll, congrats. I am going to send a fly out to you. So maybe I'll just throw an extra one in there. And this one is open to any follower on Twitch. Again, apologies, YouTube. Maybe, the marble races are so fun, though. It's kind of like just a tradition here on the channel. So at times I was thinking, like, do we get rid of it? So it's like a thing where everyone can interact. But we've been doing it so long now that it's like, it's part of the history of the channel, if you will. So we kind of have to do it. All right. Okay. So, chat, we're going to take a quick little break here. When I get back, what we're going to do is we tied a couple flatwings in some different colors. Why don't we maybe get some darker? We could perhaps do some black and purple or something. We're going to tie some. We're going to keep the flatwing theme. I'm a sucker for flatwing early in the year. And what do you call it? We're going to whip up some more flies here in just a moment when we get back. So. Get the vise there in action. Slap one of these suckers on there. Oh, yeah, look at that. Very nice. All right, chat. We're gonna take a quick break. Appreciate you folks hanging out. If there are think of any color combinations you guys like. I pretty much have every color combination of bucktail, or every color of bucktail that's available under the moon. So if you guys have any cool color combinations of some flatwings you want to see, we'll let it rip. We'll do something different than we've been doing. So put that in the tank, and I'll be back in just a moment here for some more fly tying. So I appreciate it, chat. Be back in just a moment. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, alright? Yep, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the bow.
Yeah, get on the bow. Alright, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, close next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
Alright. Nice.
Let's go! Albie slap.
Good job, dude.
Yee.
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little toonie, bro. And the albacore too. Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. my god!
I gotta turn the boat so I can cast.
Alright, we're back. I'm gonna try and take a job that would put me on the upper Chesapeake for a bit. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. I've been tying a bunch of big eelies, and they're my favorite. The black and purple eelies I've done very well with over the years, I must say. I do like a black and purple eely. I'd be down for that. And Cryrell said, I'd like to see some black and yellow with some gold flash. Okay, okay. I could get down with that. That's kind of interesting. I'm down for an eely. But we have the flatwing stuff. Let's do a flatwing, and then we'll do the eelies after. Give me a sec. We're going to swap music back. Dude, I have so many goals and aspirations. I want to record a bunch of just chill guitar backing tracks so you don't have to pay for Epidemic Sound anymore. I just don't have any time. It's something I got to bang out. Alright. Go with the same 4 odds we've been using. So, black and yellow with some gold flash with a lavender belly. All right, black and yellow, we're going up top then. We'll go black, lavender, yellow cheeks, gold flash. How about that? Sounds good to me. And you know what? Because we're going to go, I know it's going to look funky, but it's better than white. We're going to use orange thread. Why not? That's what I got here. The old joke. What's that? You know, I ramble too much when I stream. Sometimes you guys will reply to me and I have no idea what it is because my brain's already gone past it. Alright, we're going to use some orange thread here. Oh, cook algae on a pine board, throw the algae away and eat the board. Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Somebody decided they want all the albies to get annihilated, and they were like, you know what? They're edible now. Overnight. What you gotta do is you gotta bleed them, you gotta hang them, you gotta cut them, you gotta do this, then you gotta do that. How about, I liked it better when they were inedible. Alright, what are we doing again? Yellow, black, lavender. Throwing me for a curveball, I see. Well, we're going to use black hackle. And perhaps some purple if it's easy for me to get my hands on and not have to go rooting around for too long. But we got a pretty big hook here, so let's bump it up. Let me see if I can find a purple feather here without having to go too deep. I don't want to have to slow things down too much. Man, I really got to start working on some different highlights too. We're going to have to replace the Albie one eventually. I'm going to have to like I don't know if I think I can remake it. But the thing is, once I get done paying for Epidemic Sound, we can't really use that anymore. So. Then again, I've showed it for the past 6 years. I think you guys have seen it enough. So, you know, it is uploaded to YouTube, so. Alright. There is some purple here I can dig out. Both flatwings, yeah, these are 4-aught 254s. It's just what I have. It's not a very heavy hook either. But it's big enough to where it's got some chonk to it if we hook a decent fish. You know what I mean? It also just sinks kind of nice with the floating setup I've been using. But, I mean, you could scale this down a little bit, tie it on a 2-aught. Nothing wrong with that. Take a charter, film it, then write it off as a business expense. Man, I got one of the best guides that owes me a day of fishing because I delivered flies to his house, Mr. Paul Dixon. And I saw him at the fly show, and I forgot to bring it up. But he do be owing me a day of fishing one of these days. But he's quite a busy man. I think he's tarpon fishing right now. Yeah. Well, I bought the trim unit. The trim unit's fine. Now it's the entire pivoting point that the motor sits on is the issue, and that's not very easy to get or replace, and they might not even make it anymore, so it's like, what are we doing here now? The motor doesn't even turn, so. You know, the motor was in serious neglect when I got it, and I did as much as I could, but, I don't know. We'll see. Freaking Sea Star blew up on me. Steering unit. Had to replace that. Problem is, though, like, the more it sits, the worse it's gonna get, just in general, right? The hull is fantastic on it. I gotta figure something out with it. We'll see. Go subscribe to Mike Rolls Dice and make sure to drop a sub if you're new here on LI Flies Mike, so on YouTube, or leave a follow if you're on Twitch. I got some new YouTube videos planned, so we'll earn a couple pennies off those, put it towards the boat fund. Gotta make sure it stays even in the center. Let's zoom out a little bit. There you go. What horsepower is the motor? Could repower unless it's a big horsepower. It's a 130. So that boat can have up to a 200, but ideally I think it's supposed to have like a 150, but it came with a 130 Honda BF 130. So I probably want like a 150 on there, Yamaha or something. The motor, the Honda is not bad. The Honda, I bet you will keep going. It didn't even spit water out when I first got it. It was full of corrosion on the inside, but I cleaned it all out, changed thermostat. It had all, but I tell you what, that motor was pretty reliable, dude. But I'm gonna compression test it and just see if it's even worth keeping around. But 150 horsepower Yamaha is about 17 grand, I think. New or something. Used, it's going to be 8, 9, something, 10, right? And God knows what the person did to it. So it's like, no matter what, it's going to be just, I don't know, dude. Luckily, the boat's good. The hull is fantastic. I could sell the hull for probably 6 grand just alone. Make money off it, but I don't want to sell that boat. I'd rather just live it. I'll just rather put it in like a lot somewhere and just live in my boat. You know what I mean? Put a tarp over it, just sleep in it. Yeah, owning a boat is not for the broke. For sure. You need some gold flash. I almost forgot. Yeah. Boats are a rich man's game. And you know, with everything just getting infinitely expensive every year, everything just goes up. But I don't seem to make more money, you know what I mean? Like the flies prices seem to change, everything seems to change, stay the same. Yeah, definitely not easy. It was nice when it lasted. So what I'm hoping is one day I'll wake up and somebody's 150 horsepower Yamaha fell off of their boat and falls off right in front of my house, and then I'm good, right? So until that happens, until somebody forgets to secure their 150 and it just lands on my trim unit when it falls and bounces, it's going to be a little bit. Where is our gold flash? I don't have a lot of it, do I? I should have a gigantic thing of pike flash, though. Oh, what do we got going on here?
You are destined for a 666 horsepower engine under your control.
What the hell? Did I have to sign a freaking contract with Satan? Why is it 666 horsepower? Or if it's Iron Maiden or something, that would be cool. But are you telling me I gotta go to Satan to get my boat motor? I refuse. Bismillah. No, thank you. I will not be swayed by you, demon. I will not be swayed. What's going on, Jin? Thank you, my friend, for the resub. Alright. I've searched. This is going to have to do. This is kind of gold, not really gold. I don't know. Sorry, Craggerroll. I don't know where our... I had some really nice gold pike flash that was like 24 inches long that I put in a bag somewhere. I guess we have this. We could use some winning flash as well. Not today, demon. And on the day, Jin came to me and offered me a 666 horsepower motor. And I said, nay. Not today, demon. Jin, you been fishing at all or what? I just love how you picked 666. The number of the beast. Honestly, 666 horsepower would probably rip my transom off. So, might be a little much. A little too much. That transom would... That motor would go... Whoosh, go flying off. I didn't get any Twitch... I don't get Twitch notifications anymore, so I missed the last couple of streams. I'm going to be honest with you. I open up the Twitch app for when I stream on Friday nights. That's it. And then when I use my Twitch Prime on Djibouti show. That's it. I don't even know. The other day, I opened it up, and I didn't even know how to look at what channels I'm following on my phone. I'm like, where? I want to see the people I'm subscribed to. It's like showing me random crap. So I have no idea what's going on with Twitch anymore. I apologize, but I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you. I do appreciate you folks watching me. That's why I still stream on Twitch for you folks. But I'm going to be honest with you. The Twitch mobile app has made me stop watching Twitch almost entirely. I have no idea how to navigate that freaking thing anymore. Dude, they had it so good, too. I don't know what they did, but I think it's when they updated the chats and you could see, like, you could, like, not see the chat or see the chat on your screen or something. I don't know. They did something like that where they changed the whole UI. It, like, completely put me off. I think if you're watching on your computer, it's way easier to navigate Twitch on your computer, but mobile, whoever did the mobile app on Twitch fumbled the bag. Big time. It was way better before. Way better before. Oh, I didn't put a yellow hackle, but we're going to do some yellow bucktail, so that's okay. Yellow is not the prominent part, just a little bit. Now, one thing I need to do... Oh, hold. I'm an idiot. Shout out to Bill from Easy Body. We don't have to live the Pearl life. We had Bill send us a bunch of different Easy Body. And I'm just a sucker. I use Pearl on everything, but in this scenario, for black and purple fly, Pearl is not really the best choice. So, Shout out to Bill for sending us. You guys can go check out Easy Body for not only your tube fly stuff, but also your Bill's body braid. We have some gold Bill's body braid. Look at that. Yeah, don't tell me I don't have purple, right? I think I have like some blue, yeah. Very nice. I just never use it. I'm going to start using this more, the gold though. I like the gold. Planning a trip to the upper deer field with my son and fishing buddies in early May, though. So what sort of fishing's in the upper deer field? Are we talking like trout fishing, sounds like? Doesn't sound like a saltwater thing to me. Or is it up by where your son is or something? Like smallmouth and stuff? Big win from Easy Body. Big win from Easy Body for sure. Look, this is like, what's a good way of saying this? Like, let's say you're a guitar player, okay? And there's there's pedals that you use, you plug your guitar into that go into the amp, like a wah-wah pedal like Jimi Hendrix used to use, whatever. And you've used pedals your whole life playing guitar, and then the pedal company's like, yo, we love the music you make, so here, we're going to send you some pedals. That's like what Bill from Easy Body did. I've been tying Easy Body and Bill's body braid particularly ever since like I was a little kid, and I bought so many spools of this. I've always recommended it. He liked my tying, and he just sent me a bunch of stuff, really without asking me to do anything. So big W's in the chat for Easy Body and Bill from Easy Body. And one of the reasons I use a guitar reference is because he's also a guitar player. There you go. I'm going to have to get Bill from Easy Body to do a cool like guitar solo on one of our songs as a collab. I am working on music, chat. I'm working getting my my guitar skills back, so we will do a music stream one day. Don't worry. I'll be glad to embarrass myself. Early May is like next week? True. What the hell? It's already May. I'm screwed. Damn. April's already over. What the hell happened? What happened to time? I need to go catch some bass, but really what I need to do is get these flies done. I use Bill's body braid to tie his roadie flatwings. It's hard to find around here, which is ironic since he was from Newport. Yeah. There's a lot of imposters that aren't like saying Bill's body braid, but it's like flat diamond braid. And I could do a video showing you generic flat diamond braid versus the Bill's body braid. It's very different material for sure. And I always recommend getting the real thing. You can get a big old spool like this, and it'll last you quite a long time if you're not tying 100 surf candies like I do. To get notifications on mobile, go to Li Fly's mic profile and then click on the bell and select which notification settings you would like. Okay, there you go, Jin. That's the thing though. I've had bells on for YouTube, Twitch, and it's a classic thing where some people don't get notifications and stuff. So even having all of that on, there's many times where if you go to a big streamer, people will say, I never get notifications anymore. I don't know what's going on. It happens all the time. I don't know what's going on. But thank you, Yumi. Check that, Jen, if you haven't. Yo, what's going on, Sandman? How's it going, dude? No fish yet. I've caught some shad, but apparently some people are catching bass locally. So we'll see. I'm going to go out and try. I've went fishing like twice so far. I've been very busy tying roosterfish stuff, so when I get done here streaming tonight in about an hour or so, I'm going to get back to tying roosterfish stuff. So I have 64 odds in front of me. I have even more 2 odds, or less 2 odds, I think. I have then gray and white, and I have to tie even more, so... And I still have to do some YouTube videos for both Li Flies Mike and Mike Rolls Dice. So I'm like quite busy. And I just got, I tied like 24 cinderworm flies yesterday for a shop and just went and dropped them off today. So quite busy. I'm going to try and do some fishing. But I really need to get as much fly tying done. It sucks. It always ends up falling together at the same time, right? These are for Baja, for rooster fish, and then we have a local striper fishery, and everything just ends up always being, and then for LI Flies Mike, I do want to, like, right now I would love to be making like an hour-long video, when it comes to fishing the back bays or creeks or something, but I just don't have the time. It sucks. So that's just the way it is, time or working in like a fishing type industry. It just all, when it's go time, it's go time. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We're just tying like crazy. So, but I caught like a 10-inch shad. That's right. What did you catch, chat? Every time I'm like, oh, I get so excited and I'm like, it's a freaking shad. No. No. I thought it was a bass, but I got shadded. Get shadded. I got jebaited by the shad, dude. Alright, I'm looking for this yellow bucktail. Here it is. I was gonna say, come on, guys. What are we doing here? We just used it. Get shad on. I forgot what my buddy used to... something... Oh, the sea robin queen or something... Or king or something. Queen or some dumb shit I said one day. And he was like making fun of me for it. There was a time where early in the spring I would used to just catch sea robins. Nowadays it seems like early in the spring I'm just catching freaking shad nowadays. I don't think they're herring. I think they're shad, but there are some pretty big herring that are around this time of year as well. And there's a freshwater creek, so I don't know what it is. It's hard to say. I think they're shad though, because they're jumping like crazy. So, but I have caught a couple herring before. You could tell the difference between them too. So, I have caught some of the herring on a fly, I feel like. And, it might have just been like I snagged them in the mouth or something, because I don't even know. I think they eat fish. I don't think they're just filter feeders, but we're talking about the big ones, the big herring. Or maybe I was just tripping. It's hard to tell. But I feel like I've caught them on the fly before. Actually, Mark Sadati was trying to get me to go fishing today. I completely forgot. He asked me, but I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm so busy. I'm too busy to go bass fishing. There's probably herring going into the pond right now. I would love to go have a freeze my ass off sesh paddling Mark Sadati around. Because it is fun. I always have a good time fishing with him. But, these rooster fish flies are really numero uno priority at the moment. Lavender, black, and yellow, you say? Yeah, I like it. Funky enough for me. I mean, we already determined color doesn't matter anyway, so. They eat a sabiki rig, so they'll eat whatever? Yeah, that's what I thought. I just didn't know if they were predators or not. They'll eat a freaking silverside. Little baby silverside. They're a great fight on a 6-weight. I mean, I honestly may have hooked a herring the other day then, because it was much smaller than the usual shad. But I bet you it was a shad. I wouldn't be surprised. But I know the herring are running right now, so they're kind of in full force. We'll see. I think I'm going to try and go fishing tomorrow at some point. I might go during the day. I mean, I should probably go at night. I have to stream for Mike Rolls Dice maybe after that or something, or I don't know. I got to get as much flies done as possible, dude. That's really the most important thing. That is the most important thing. Let's throw a little peacock curl in here. This is nice, though. I do enjoy... I'm trying to make sure I'm not doing any commercial fly tying on stream anymore. The reason being, this is like my time to like hang out and tie flies with you guys and not have to do any work. In the past, when it was super busy, I'm like, all right, chat, well, we're talking anyway, right? It's not like I'm sitting here explaining everything I'm doing with the fly, but I would just do some commercial tying because I need to get stuff done, but I've tried to stop doing that, and it's good. It's nice to take a little break, you know what I mean? You know what? I'm just going to use this because I don't want to waste it. Building up a little bit of a thread head just because I'm going to actually put an eye on here for one of you folks. That'll get secured down a little bit more once we do a little resin on there anyway. I don't have a P.O. box, Yumi. I've had somebody, like, you know, Jin's my mod. He's actually come and met up. I've had a couple other folks in the community, like, come and fish with me. But, I've gotten some gifts meeting people in person at fly shows, but I don't have a P.O. box. A P.O. box is pretty expensive, believe it or not. I was thinking about it in the past because people want to send me bucktails, want to send me this and that. But, we'll see. Maybe in the future. I appreciate it. But really, you folks just hanging out and just chatting every once in a while or lurking in the background is one of the best ways to support the stream, even though I do appreciate it if you guys want to send bucktails and things. Obviously, I need to use a P.O. box. Otherwise, somebody will show up to my house with assless chaps. We've been over this before. We don't want that. I'm not sure you've ever tied more than 5 on a stream. What's that? Flies or just everything in general? What do you mean? Also, Craig, sorry I missed you. I haven't caught any fish. Hopefully you've heard this, though. And they are local, though. I have heard some people catching some fish, so... Thank you, Southern Fly Guy. I appreciate it. I'm a lurker myself. I don't do a lot of chatting in streams. I watch a ton of streams. Recently, there's been a lot of rust going on in like the gaming community, or I'll watch some, what do you call it? I don't really watch a lot of IRL stuff. It's mostly like gaming stuff because it's just people I've been watching for years, and it's like while I work in the background, you know. But I'm a big lurker myself as well. I don't mind chatting too. Sometimes I'll get a little chatty, but I like watching stream in the background while I do stuff. Because a lot of times I want to watch a YouTube video on a presentation of like this battle or something, or I'm trying to watch a YouTube video of somebody made, but it's like I want to actually give it my full attention. So like I don't want to have that in the background playing, you know what I mean? So like a stream at times is kind of nice to just kind of something I can like pay attention to, but also just listen to while I'm working and tying and, you know, whatever. Nice little comfort zone, if you will. More than 5 flies on a stream, you always end up talking? Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, that's what I've learned, though. If we just tied flies, it would be boring as hell. Maybe I'd be more successful, actually. Who knows? Maybe, should we try it one day where it's like, I can't do it, though, is the issue. I always will end up just chatting. What do you call it? I'm definitely not that sort of fly tire to where it's like, all right, well, now, you see, I'm going to take the bucktail and put the bucktail. It's like, dude, you've seen me tie a flat wane 1,000 times. If you haven't, you get the idea. Like, yes, we're keeping it sparse, this and that, but it's like, you know, I can't sit there and be like, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. So I always end up chit-chatting. And, you know, to me, you know, it's easy to get lost in the sauce when it comes to talking while tying, for sure, like this. You know, getting to like, because like if I go to a fly tying, like we used to do at the local fly tying shop, we would have It was the second Tuesday of the month. We were meeting up for fly tying. That was before Jeff, though, ended up getting married and getting a dog, a hunting dog, and now he doesn't really care about fly tying anymore because Jeff would have to be the one that would stay around. But so we would go, and everyone would be tying. And it's like when you do this, is the way I kind of think of my streams is like it's almost like we're doing a fly tying meeting or club. Is the way I kind of think of it. It's less of a presentation and more of like we're tying and it's like, you know, getting together with the boys, you know, or the ladies are there and tying some flies and chit chatting, you know, maybe having a beer or something. That's the way I approach it, as opposed to like going to see someone giving a presentation at a fly show. You know what I mean, or something like that. Because when we were doing these, what do you call it? These fly meetups and stuff like that. You're not tying like 24 flies. It's everyone's hanging out and you're like telling stories and you're like, oh, that looks cool. What about this? And you're just talking the whole time about fishing and this and that. So that's kind of the idea. Well, Gene, you know, I've been doing this for so long and so many people on, like, I've been streaming on Twitch for so many years. I've never, like, broken consistently over, like, probably, like, 30 or 40 viewers. There were times where maybe we were peaking at 50 and you need 75 to get a partner. And that's kind of like, you've made it. Or not even you've made it. You're actually doing something. So I've pretty much been failing at streaming on Twitch for the past 8 or 9 years. So you could argue that there are probably different ways you could go about doing things, perhaps, that would be more successful. But luckily I'm too stubborn, so you never need to worry about that. Because I'm from Long Island, New York, and, you know, it's kind of hard for me to, you know. Look, I am who I am, so you're getting the real deal, you know? You're never going to see me, like, dressed up like a Sims model giving a presentation. If I ever give a presentation, I'm probably going to be up there looking like I do now, but, like, cracking jokes the whole time, you know? So. I'm definitely not the traditional fly tying educator. Gotcha, Jimmy. Is like Friday night beers without the drinking, just tying? Yeah, that's what it's, you know, that's what it was like when I used to go to fly clubs and meetings and stuff. Half of the guys weren't even talking about fly fishing. They were all like retired New York City cops and firefighters and like dudes, and they were all like, you know, hanging out, eating like sandwiches and just chatting like, oh, how's Nancy? You know, like, you know what I mean? All right, Jimmy. Yo, Iglaz, thank you for the brand new tier 1. Very, very kind of you, my friend. You didn't have to do that. Round of applause. Get some LI Flies hearts in the chat. Very, very kind of you. Thank you for the Twitch sub. Again, you folks just hanging out. And nothing worse than streaming. I did it for a year with nobody in the chat. And you talking to yourself. So. You folks being here and just lurking and hanging out, I'll keep doing it. As long as you know, as long as there's like 4 or 5 of you guys. And hey, we're doing good. We got like 12 on YouTube. Sheesh. I'll be around. Unless I end up in a van like Mike Ross and they tow our van and we lose reception. So, you know what I mean? I got your 6, brother. Yo, AR.
My phone hasn't told me you're live for months.
We've heard this before. Okay. Classic Twitch with the notifications. Sorry about that, my friend. Luckily, well, no, you actually missed the subscriber race. But we have the follower race coming up. All right, so hop on in there. You actually wanted to hit the subscriber race because you had better chances. God damn it. Also, AR, we have been playing some Rust, me and Frosty. So, and with this tiny bit of spare time I have here and there. So, if you're, what do you call it? We're always looking for people to play. If you want to join us, what do you call it? Your videos covering the detailed fly time. Yeah, the videos are the detailed covering, no jokesies. You know what I mean? You know, so. I thought I'd bring it up. Rust is you have to be in the right mindset for it. Now, you got 4K 3 hours on Rust, Craig? God damn, bro. Sheesh. Damn, you OG. I only got like 700. Yeah, we might need to slip you in there then. Get Zergen. We've streamed some Rust in the past, back in the day. And I've done some solo streams. We did some like solo raids against other solos on like solo servers and stuff like that. We've done Sequisha had a server, and we played on Sequisha's server the whole time, and I had like my fully automated auto turret heartbeat sensor base and everything like that. Well, you're always welcome to join us, AR. So 2018, yeah, you were playing back in the zombie days. God damn. You just got done on 1,000 pop 2x. Was fun. All right, cool. Well, damn, man. If you ever want to play with us, my buddy Frosty, who's our mod here on Twitch, he's new to the game, but he has some information. But I've played quite a fair bit. I'm just not an AK Chad, you know what I mean? Mech Arena. Is that a... I know there's a couple different mech games. Fly looks sick. I gotta say, great color combinations, man. How do we think about the orange head? I know I just picked the orange, but do we like the orange head? I just read your comment. I was iffy about the orange thread, but it works. I kind of like it. Shit, I'll farm all you need. Yeah, we'll throw a revolver. Nowadays, it's so easy to get loot. I remember the days of... See, I didn't play back where there were blueprint... I didn't play where you had to, like, get the blueprints out of barrels, like that old. But this was before, like, vending machine. I played back... Was it? I don't think it was 2018. I think it must have been, like a year or two after or something. But... the game was definitely substantially... It's changed so much over the years. But I gotta say, the devs in that game have done so much in that game. Face Punch really are one of my favorite developers because they've just continually done such a good job. I mean, you can't fault them. They've just constantly done updates. So whether it's you like it or not, they've at least done stuff to the game, you know? Meanwhile, DayZ, they'll do one map like every freaking 3 years or something. Some garbage. You have to play modded DayZ to have any fun nowadays. Like on Smoke server or something, you know? Oh, they acquired 7 Days to Die. Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. First time I play... I first played before Blueprints. Yeah, we played years ago, AR. Back in the day with Bino, who I met on Sequisha's server. All right, let's tie a eel punt. And I'm sure some of you folks in chat are like, what the hell is he talking about? We're talking about Vigia games. Don't worry about it. We're going to tie an eel punt real quick. And then we'll do we got to do our follower marble race, and we got to do a YouTube giveaway with the chat, which is going to take a little bit to do. So let's tie this real quick. Where is our hooks? Are they hiding underneath the bucktail, it seems to go? Yeah, most of my hours are solo. We used to play with, if you've ever watched the Albie highlight, which you have if you've watched this channel, the kid on the front of the boat, who's AC Fishing, who's now traveling the Bahamas, a young man, working on a tuna boat. I played Rust with him for a fair bit because he was new and I already had a couple hundred hours and stuff. And but a lot of my hours are solo in that game, either playing on solo servers or on like some vanilla stuff. So, which that game solo is a completely different game. Does that mean I'm entered in both of those? Just type !play in the chat now. If you're watching on Twitch, you'll get into the new marble race. And then when we do the YouTube one, I'll let you guys know, for all you folks who've been sticking around. The way I'll have you guys type something, I'm going to have to manually type your guys' name into a random name generator. And then it'll we'll see who it is. That was a raunchy Rust Discord with AC. Yeah, you know, kids these days are definitely different. I remember Halo lobbies and Call of Duty lobbies being one thing, but kids these days are like wild. And not even necessarily bad. They're just I don't know. It's a completely different generation. I mean, he's like 20 years old now, but I mean, you know, he's like 18 years old at the time, like in high school or something. It's just like completely different, you know what I mean? His sense of I'm like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? And now we were playing with AC Fishing and his one buddy Ev, and he's in the Navy. I think he was in Japan. I think he still is in Japan right now, traveling the world. So, which that he was acting like a complete dumbass in that game, and now he's serving this country. Proud sailor, man. Good kids, good kids. Just a little cringe at times is all. Their sense of humor. Yeah, the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, I don't think you could ever beat the old school Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. They were probably some of the most vile things you would ever hear. I don't know what it is with like teenagers wanting to just be idiots and say the most like terrible things, but man, I still have just like glimpses of memories of Modern Warfare. My favorite was Modern Warfare, not Modern Warfare 2. The first one. And playing online in that one, dude. It was much simpler than the second one. Like less game modes and stuff, but I just remember the one like the one map. I don't know, I will never forget that game. Good times. That being said, Halo all the way. Halo 2 was peak. I don't think I'll ever play a better game than Halo 2 in my life. That was like the greatest gaming experience I've ever had as a kid growing up. Competitive gaming in Halo 2. And that was the start of online console gaming. It's the original, you know, like Xbox at the time, and then the PlayStation 2, but yep, the good old days. A couple days staying home sick, faking sick so I could just play Halo 2 as well. Maybe I was a little sick, but I probably exaggerated a little bit more just so I could get some Halo 2 in. Is that good? Intervention on Hainer dropping nukes. Yeah, I remember when they added the nuke stuff. That was freaking... I remember we got one once. We were like hiding. I got one once. I was hiding in like... This probably was the second Modern Warfare, and this was when they had the like big team wars. And then it was like... I remember there was this one area, and there was like a big bush area that we could get into. It was like out in this one area, and I don't know what we were doing. I was probably just shooting, sniping or something. I had like... was getting really close to a nuke. And ended up like getting it near the end. I was like freaking out. It wasn't that too. They had the shipping container one. Wasn't that the start of the shipping containers map? Was on Modern Warfare 2 originally, or was it Modern Warfare 1 had it? I think it was 2, right? I was excited when we upgraded from Atari to Intellivision. Early 80s, good times. I will say. This is a little bit after, I mean, about 10 years or so, but the Sega Genesis days were really good, too. I have super nostalgia for the Sega Genesis days. I'll never forget it. We were in Thousand Oaks, California, visiting my grandfather, and I got a Sega Genesis for Christmas. Good old days, man. Ugh. That being said, video games are better than they'll ever be, but there is something to just being alive at that time and experiencing like brand new games and systems coming out. And God, I feel old every time I stream. Every time I think about all these things, I'm like, I'm getting too old, damn it. I'm turning into an old man and I hate it. Because I keep being nostalgic for all the old stuff. I'm starting to turn into that old guy that's like, yeah, the 90s were better. Oh, this was better. This was that. Everything sucks. Yep. I miss it. But the grass is always greener on the other side. Nowadays, we have like freaking... Our phones are supercomputers that can load a page instantly. Does anyone remember dial-up internet? Yeah. That's all you need to know. By the way, can you hear this dog barking in the background? My neighbor's dog just barks incessantly. Tiny little dog. If you guys can hear it, let me know. I'll close the window. I remember waiting, I'm not even joking, probably at least 30 minutes to like an hour for a web page to load. If it had just a ton of crap on it. It was like back in like 1997 or 8 or something. It's crazy to think how far we've come technologically. I'm sitting here like streaming. It's only 720p, but I could be streaming in like 4K if I wanted to, you know what I mean? If I had the... If Optimum didn't screw us all the time. Oh, I was going to tie an eel punt. That's okay. We'll just tie another flatwing then. I got some eel punts. We could do a hybrid. I'm going to do a hybrid. Yeah, watch this. You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this, chat. You ready for this? I don't think so. We're going to do a little bucktail, and then we'll do a eel punt head in front of it. I'm 70. I only complain 50% of the time. All right, well, then I got to shut up because I'm definitely complaining more than 50% of the time. Maybe not on stream. Well, probably on stream, too. So you're telling me I got to slow my roll a little bit. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. My bad, my bad. Oh, man, this freaking... I think the pollen... I was complaining about it last week. It's definitely hitting. I've been like stuffed up all week. My eyes have been all messed up. But I tell you what, we do have some local honey. You guys pointed it out. I have been eating it. I haven't eaten it for a couple days though. You guys got me hyped up on the local honey. I'm not going to lie. Oh man, I'm like all stuffed right now. I need to blow my nose, but it's fine. You guys got me hyped on the local honey. So, I gotta get back on it. Nobody hyped me up on the honey this week. What the hell are you guys doing? I gotta start, like, a bee farm in my backyard. Well, somebody said local honey helps. So, I gotta start, like, I gotta get a bee costume or something. Start bringing them in. Talking 90s and modern history is modern history to me. I remember the 50s bass ponds that started this bad habit. Gene, just think about if you bought a 1959 Gibson Les Paul and for like probably $100, $200, and you kept it in your closet, it would be worth like freaking $250,000. That's what's crazy to me. As a guitar player, I would have loved just to be back then and just be like, I'll take one of those, I'll take one of these. But I mean, a couple $100 back in the 50s was like the equivalent of freaking spending like $1,000 nowadays on a guitar. So it was easier said than done. But yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. 1950s, where I am right now, they didn't even have paved roads in the 50s. They still had dirt roads in the majority. I think only the main street in town had a paved road. Every other road in my town in 1950s was dirt roads. That's how, like, even remote Long Island was back then, or like undomesticated, I guess you could say, where it comes to like the modern day, like, you know, suburbs and everything. So I think it was up until like the 60s or something like that, or 70s, they started paving most of the streets out here, which is kind of crazy, or something like that. But if you go a couple more decades before that, we're talking like there wasn't as much out here, because the roads were like, it's pretty rough country getting in and out of certain areas over here. For sure. It's not easy to get to Montauk, for instance. You're still on a dirt road? And nothing wrong with a dirt road. I'm just saying, like, now where Long Island is so heavily industrialized and, like, so, you know, there's so much, the suburbs are so, it's like a gigantic suburbs, you know, whatever. There's barely any, like, woods left, you know, in certain areas of Long Island now. But 40, 50 years ago, it was completely different. You're signing off? Hey, thanks, Jin. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Appreciate it. I'll look into Satan's contract for that motor, all right? Thank you, dude. I'll check over the fine details. I'm sure there's nothing mischievous in it. 666. The number of the beast. I don't know. Obviously, this is why I don't sing. Oh, wait. Six. See, I can't do that high, whatever the guy's singing is, so I need to go lower. 6. No, we're just going to stop. Not even going to try and sing. In fact, give me the sound effect. Cut the mic. Cut the mic. I have to, like, scream, like, I'm not even going to do it, though. I want to do it, like, the top of my lungs, the 666 song, but I'm not going to. Definitely local honey. Yep. Okay. We got some on the island, but I want to get at my local Bev where I get my White Claws, because I like supporting whenever I can. I always go to the local businesses, right? There's a 7-Eleven that just opened up across the street. It's probably cheaper by a couple bucks, or the Stop and Shop. I always go to the local Bev. You know what I mean? I've been going there since I was of legal age. And, like, it's like the sort of thing where the guy's been, like, a mainstay, awesome dude, you know what I mean? So I always try to support the local businesses in town. Even as somebody who's, like, probably doesn't have the budget to be doing these things, I still try to, like, you know, as somebody who ties flies for a living and people, you know, I always try to support the local guys. But he sells honey from the next town over. That's, I think, about as local as I can get. So he's going to be my sort. I got to get some honey from him, because I have some honey made on Long Island that's like unprocessed, unfiltered honey. Oh my God, it is so good. But it's like from way up the island. So I want to get some like super duper local. You guys got me turned on to this local honey shit. So I want the township. I want same township honey. You know what I mean? The hell is going on out there? There's all sorts of shit banging around. All right, looking good. I'm not going to put any peacock roll on this one, because a little variety never hurts. And we'll put a head on this thing. Yo, Zeke, what's going on, man? How's it going? You know, man, I'm a sucker. I want a vintage guitar so bad. I was gonna buy Gibson Melody Makers. It was like the 60s Melody Makers back in the day when they were like somewhat affordable, and they're not even like the real deal. Like, it's not even like a real SG. But you got me stuck on the 50. You said the 50s bass ponds, and I'm just thinking about guitars now. I'm just thinking about guitars, and I'm thinking about, man, I would love to have like a 1969 Chevelle SS too, or something, or like a Camaro. Oof. Oof. But where I live, it wouldn't have any floorboards or chassis left because it would all be rotted out. So I've learned cars, unfortunately, are too much for me. Boats at least are made to go in salt water. You know what I mean? So you're a little bit more positive there. Spread this out a little bit. Throw some eyes on here, and then we'll do our marble race. And we're going to do a YouTube giveaway as well. Yeah, I like this color. It's a cool color combination. This would be a fun color combination for a larger fly, I think, for bunker and stuff. This would be a cool color combination for that. So I'm going to tell you what, I don't know what the hell the next video is going to be. Have I done a video on the eel punt? You know what? That might be it. I don't know if I've actually done a video on the eel punt, and that is a fantastic early season fly for nighttime, particularly. I like the black and purple ones. I think there's a good chance I haven't done a video on an eel punt. Oh, I have done a video on an eel punt. It was last spring. Damn it. It was an olive version. I just remembered. I might do something Abrams, a Ray Bonduroo inspired. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a Bonduroo bucktail or something. I don't know. Good. Got up to go to the bay. Left my waders at home. Oh, dude. Happens to the best of us. It's cold out there, Zeke. I went the other night and was freezing my ass off. So I need to get some like fingerless wool gloves or something. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, this is like fishing in freaking November weather. Like, what the hell's going on? It was like 80 degrees the other day in my backyard, and now it's like in the 40s at night. Some weird weather, fluctuating weather we're getting. But some folks that I know fish locally, I think, caught some fish on the other side of the bay. If you know what I'm talking about, in my bay over here, the other side where everyone goes, where it funnels in. But on my side, I haven't had any luck. But I'm going to keep fishing because I'm stubborn and I have no time. So I have to fish pretty much in my backyard, if you will. So I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to go at night, though, I think. Either maybe tomorrow night. I was thinking tonight, but I have so much stuff to do. So let me know how you make out. But, I mean, if they're getting them out here, you should be getting them out there, too. Hit the usual, spots. But apparently some fish up to 40 inches out here, so. That's okay. I went bow hunting 4 hours from home and left my bow at home. Okay, what have I done hunting-wise like that? I don't think I've ever left my bow at home, but I think I've left my tree stand. I've definitely done something where I completely fucked myself after walking in the woods too. I like walked all the way out and then realized, like, because I was just in like go mode after work. There was something I did where I did something stupid bow hunting one day. Completely like screwed myself and I had to like walk through the woods. Fishing, oh man, the worst thing, you want to know the worst thing in the world fishing I've ever done is me and my buddy going on a canoe and getting ready to fish the entire night in the canoe, like, on the lake or on the bay or whatever, and rolling up a chonker and forgetting a lighter. That was like the worst. Or fishing from shore. We'd walk for hours and we'd get down there and we'd be like, all right, cool, let's spark it up. Because we were like, we're going to fish for hours now for the entire night here. So let's let it rip right now. And forgetting a lighter and being like, no! And like we walked like an hour down the beach. Oh, dude, on there we're like trying to like rub sticks together out there. That was like back in like high school and shit like that. Those are the good old days. Yep, rub some sticks together for that dirty. Hell yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't pay enough attention to Les from Survivor Man. What's his last name? Les Wild? Is that his name or something like that? But we didn't know how to do it, so we learned our lesson though after a couple mistakes of that. It was like we started stashing lighters everywhere. We need them everywhere in the fishing mobiles. Or from shore or whatever. Those are the good old days. Alright. Nowadays, I can't fish from a canoe because the thing's so damn heavy, I'll throw my back out before I even get to the water. We used to take that canoe, we'd walk through the woods. I'm not even joking, for like... We had to drag this in. It was probably a good hour-long walk to get back to these like secret kettle ponds in the woods up here in the northeast. You have glaciers that settled and then they melted and they formed these ponds out in the middle of the woods. So you see like giant rocks and boulders, and you're like, we don't have rocks and boulders like that on the south shore of Long Island. So when you see them in the woods, you're like, we're getting close to like maybe something cool. You find a kettle pond just loaded with bass, pickerel, and stuff like that. So, but the only way to get back there is physically carry a canoe by hand. Those were some wild trips because we'd have to like, it was the sort of thing where like we'd make it there, but we were so exhausted by the time we got there, and then we still had to get it back. And it was like the worst thing in the world was having to carry that canoe back through the woods at night. Like, oh man, it was so miserable. Damn, dude, it sucked. But, you know, it was worth it. We would get, like, places all to ourselves, and we'd be able to fish with, like, no competition. Some places hadn't been touched probably in years, you know what I mean? So, it's worth it. But now I'm too old for that. My back hurts too much to go do those things. So I'm happy at least I did a lot of it when I was younger. That's why I say, well, having a real boat definitely is a big upgrade. As opposed to dragging a 100-pound canoe off the roof of your car, you know what I mean? And having to paddle it for 3 hours against the tide and wind. Alright. Got ourselves some nice flatwings, some nice herring flies. We have one of each, by the way, so some of you folks are going to win some flies as well. But that being said, we need to wrap up the stream here soon because we've almost been streaming for 3 hours, and I gotta eat some food and I gotta get some work done. So let's go ahead and do our marble race. This is our follower marble race. The first marble to land in the pit. All you gotta be doing is following the Twitch channel, and after this we're gonna do our YouTube giveaway. So just hang around for that. We're gonna have you guys type your guy's name, or just type something in chat, and then I'll write your guy's name in a random name generator. So stick around for that, but I'll give you folks a second here on Twitch, !play. Now, I will say if you do win, you can only win on either platform once per night. Okay, so Craggerroll already won tonight, and if someone wins here on Twitch, you can't win on YouTube, alright? So, make sure everybody gets a fair chance. Not playing leans? Alright. Well, up to you. Up to you. I always say hop in there. Yeah, I play here and there. I might even play a little tonight or something. But we've been playing like a trio server where we have 3 people or something. And it's like, whatever. But I'm down to like, you know, we could always just hop on a vanilla server where there's no restrictions and stuff. One too many times. I gotta say, Leans, when you're that good, you're that good. What can you say? Yep. What can I say? All right, we're going to start up, chat. Let's do it. That's one of the things, like, we play on, like, duo or trio servers, but then you can't add people. You know what I mean? All right, chat, good luck. I didn't change the marble music either. We're going this way. This is Au Natural. AR is off in the lead. Solo behind. Craggerroll. Frankenstein. Southern Fly Guy. Iglaz. It's anybody's game First marble in the pit's going to be winning some flies. Beautiful execution on the landing there. We're approaching the hand-carved steps here, gaining a velocity of 210 miles per hour minimum. Oh, we're getting a little scuffle here, though. Oh, these are steps. They're actual steps, and they're not smooth. Shere Khan, AR Craggerol, hitting some jumps. Okay, now we got the speed boost section. Speed boost. Oh! Woohoo! Oh, Craggerol went flying. Southern Fly Guy makes the land in AR. Iglaz goes flying. See ya. Frankenstein Ape. This is just for pure style points. Can he make it? Nice and slow. Nice and slow. 2 out of, what, like 10 people survived? Congrats, Southern Fly Guy. Round of applause, chat. Southern Fly Guy, who already has some flies as well, so I might just double up your guys' flies and get her out of here. Get these packages out of here, would you? All right, very nice. Now, YouTube, I didn't forget about you, YouTube. You guys have been like, what the hell? We don't get to take part in these cool marbles. I got you. Don't worry. All right, YouTube. This is what I'm going to need for you guys. I'm going to need you guys to type... What's the word of the day? What was the topic of the day that was the most exciting or ranted about moment? I don't remember, but I will. We just talked recently about forgetting a lighter with my homeboy after taking a canoe out there. So why don't you type fire in the chat? And if you're watching on YouTube, type moratorium. That's kind of hard to spell right. But yes, you could type fire or moratorium in the chat, and we'll let you know that I'm going to... But don't spam it. Please don't spam it. Just type it once, okay? Please type it once. We got Doyle. I'm not going to be like... The way I'm doing this right now is I'm manually entering your guy's name into a wheel. So it's like typing it multiple times isn't going to help. You know what I mean? So give me a second here. We got Doyle. We got Neves. Alex Jones. Oh, Alex Johnson. I'm sorry, not Jones. I was like, damn, Alex Jones is watching. He's going to turn the frogs gay. Alex Johnson. We got Gene. Fly Fishing Minnesota. I'm going to call you Fly Fishing Mini. We got Zeke. Am I missing anybody? Let me see. No, looking good. All right, chat. Type in YouTube chat if you guys want a chance to get entered in. We're going to randomly pick a name here. God, I cannot wait to blow my nose once the stream is done. I could get up and get a tissue right now, but I'm being stubborn. But it's getting to the point to where I need to. We got David. David Ayat. I'll just type. I got you. I got you. Don't worry. Hang in there. Hang in there. Hang in there. Make sure you guys are tap on the right side of the screen on YouTube. Make sure you guys are caught up and you're up to date. Okay. I missed you there, but I got you now. I got you. So we got Doyle, Neves, Alex Johnson, Gene, Fly Fishing Minnesota, Zeke, and David. Anybody else? I'll give you guys 30 seconds here, and we're going to pick somebody on the wheel of flies. The wheel of flies. Rev, we got Rev wants in there. Fire. You're just trying to warm up for your miniature giveaway on Mohawk Minis. Don't be using up your good juju in my stream, Rev. Come on now. I got you, though. I got you. You like that little... The wheel of flies. What do we think? We got the marble race, but now we got the wheel of flies. All right. 5 seconds. If somebody doesn't type it in. I think we got everybody. Don't know what's happened. You want to play? Okay, cool, cool. Well, somebody on YouTube's going to win a fly. Now, here's the thing, chat. God, I got to blow my nose so bad. Also, my eyes water a little bit when I do silly voices, so that's what's going on here when I did the Wheel of Flies. Now, here's the thing. I need a way to get in touch with you folks. So you need to either send me an Instagram message with your address, a Discord DM, you need to join our Discord, or you're going to need to email me. And I hate having to put my email because I'm dumb, and I haven't made a specific email for YouTube yet, and I don't want to put my regular email in the chat. So, but... if you go to, but I can do it anyways. It doesn't matter. I do need to make a separate email specifically for this exact scenario, though, because YouTube doesn't have direct messages. So, if you do win, I need your thing. Well, Calvin, what the hell? You didn't type fire or moratorium in the chat. So, what are we doing here, Calvin? Come on, bro. You hit me with a fire, I'll slap you in there. You know, them's the rules. I got you. But you got to listen to the instructions. I don't remember who the hell's watching the chat the whole time. Come on, bro. I'm trying to make sure I don't have snot blowing out of my nose. I got to blow my nose. I got to blow my nose. All right, we're going to pick a winner on the count of 3. You ready, chat? Drum roll. Ba-dum-ba-ba! Wait, how do I do it? Click to spin. Spin to win. Hey! And Neves. Congratulations. Neves has joined the Discord. So, Neves, you can send me your shipping address in the Discord. I think you joined recently. So that'll make things easier. I don't have to track you down with a private detective. Congratulations. Round of applause. Round of applause. Congratulations, Neves. I will need a shipping address via Discord, Instagram. But no rush. You're going to have to send me a message. It's going to send me a message request, and I'll accept it. Just because otherwise I have people trying to send me photos of their assless chaps all the time. Come on, guys. Cut it out. All right, enough's enough. All right, speaking of which, I got to blow my nose so freaking bad. Chat, you folks have been awesome. I hope you folks have an awesome night. We're streaming next Friday. Hopefully by then I've caught a striped bass. At some point, I'm going to try and stream fishing when I'm not super busy. I need to figure that out. And, yeah, thank you so much, chat, for hanging out. We got Doyle, we got Iglaz, Neves, Rev, Calvin. Thank you so much, everybody. Southern Fly Guy. Everybody, whether you're hanging out in the chat or you were lurking, as long as you don't have chaps. Very nice. Good, good. Look, what you guys do in your spare time is fine, okay? It's just, as a streamer or making YouTube, you get people, they want, I don't need to know everything, guys. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, chat, David. Thank you so much for hanging out. You folks have an awesome night and have a great weekend. All right, stay safe. If you're going fishing, good luck out there and catch a striped bass for me. I'm gonna try and do some myself. So, but appreciate it, chat. Yumi, thank you so much, chat. We'll see you guys. Craggerroll, Southern Fly Guy, Neves. I'm going to get you guys set up for some flies. But everyone else, if you're still waiting, Southern Fly Guy, Craggerroll. I forgot the other person's name who was watching on YouTube, but I have their fly packaged up. And Frosty, you guys are going to... I'm shipping them out, so don't worry. But all right, chat. We'll see you guys. Have an awesome night. Take it easy. And have